Welcome everybody to the latest session of the Bottomless Dungeon. So we've had, I think, at least a week off now due to the holidays. So we're jumping back into where we left things off last time. So we'll, as usual, do a quick recap and then we will jump into the session proper. So the group will likely recall when we picked up last session, they were inside of the Bottomless Dungeon, having arrived into this very strange location after agreeing to enter the Bottomless Dungeon. It seemed as though this entire area was very dark and gloomy, so dark and some type of magical darkness that blocked dark vision, and it required the group, who all of them were used to actually relying on their natural usage of racial ability for dark vision or a magic item for dark vision, and unfortunately just did not work here. So the group was maneuvering around this area, finding these plinths that they could touch, which would generate a floating ball of light. This light only gave off dim light, and they used this to sort of scout around the Bottomless Dungeon area here. So the group had run into, in a few different situations, these large flying creatures that seem to be able to fly very far distances, dive down, so often striking from quite a great distance away, and then circling back up out of the line of sight of the group, which was making it very challenging to fight them in a traditional sense. So the group was having to sort of stage their attacks where when the enemy would dive down, have readied actions to attack at that point. That was working fairly effectively, but the group was running into some different challenges due to this dark element. After traveling across some of these bridges through the darkness, the group did find that there was sort of an imperceptible barrier. They could see something here. It was hard to explain exactly what it looked like. It was more of a sense or a feeling than any kind of specific visual identifier, but they could feel somewhat sluggish as they continued trying to head in a particular direction, so decided to eventually make their way back and sort of circle up. And as they did so, they could notice that on this chunk of rock floating in this ever dark area, there were letters just printed on the ground. It was very odd. The group hadn't seen anything like this before, but investigated it and started looking around, seeing what was up with these, and eventually the choice was made to just step on one and see what would happen. And every one the group stepped on ended up being something bad happened. It was some kind of a negative effect that the group picked, but they did notice that as they triggered one, all of the letters that were nearby it would become gone. Essentially, it would submerge into the ground. So they realized that this is sort of like a puzzle where if they were really strategic, they could limit the number of tiles they would have to step on by eliminating all the tiles around it, and eventually make their way to wherever this was heading. As the group was starting to do this, sending one brave volunteer forward and take a few of these different hits from these letters on the ground, the group noticed then that there was a bridge that spanned across from this area to another chunk of floating land, and eventually the decision was made for Kurtu to cast Fly Spell on Gale and allow him to try to fly over to see if that would work. And it turns out that it did. Gale was able to find that as he flew over to the other side, there was a large chest here, and it was covered or surrounded by all of these letters. He was trying to bring light close by, but when he would bring a torch by and drop it, it would just go out, and he realized that this was pretty challenging. Eventually, once he opened the chest, there was another one of these creatures nearby that started coming down to strike, but also, in addition to the various loot items that were inside this chest, there was a little scene that played out in the conclave area of the top of the chest, so the lid, and it displayed individual humanoid figures moving up to what resembled one of the plinths that the group had already seen, and stretching forth just a stick, and suddenly the stick became lit up with the same light that was being given off by the plinths. This didn't necessarily trigger right away for Gale, but after we will say careful coaxing of this information out of Gale from other team members, the group was able to discern that, yeah, they could easily just place an unlit torch by one of these plinths, and it would actually light it up and cause that light to be the same light coming from the plinth. So the group had a sort of evading fight with this large bird creature that was triggered from opening the chest, and they were slowly retreating across the stone walkways, trying to make their way across. Eventually were able to defeat the bird, but it was a pretty long, drawn-out battle. And as the group continued making their way then towards the area where things got really slow and sluggish again, with the benefit of this light being produced from the stick, this actually caused this barrier, the slowness, whatever it was, to be dissipated. So the group was able to push forward. As they turn the corner here, moving past some of this very large rocky stalactite growth from the ceiling, they found their way onto a large rocky platform. Again, very, very dark here, and the light given off by this torch is very dim light, so it's hard to see much. But the group pushed forward when pretty suddenly they noticed a massive reptilian creature, very much like a dinosaur, that was waiting on this platform. As the group sort of slowly made their way around during this encounter with this dinosaur creature, they also noticed a circle of symbols on the ground, some type of a circle of magic, perhaps, a runic circle. The group engaged in battle with this dinosaur, who had very ferocious strikes, very dangerous bite and tail attack, and was able to drop... I'm trying to remember who got dropped first, but I know for sure that we had one character get dropped. Josephine was dropped down to the ground, and the group then was doing the best they could to try to aid her as well as protect themselves. But unfortunately, Leroy, that's right, Leroy was also dropped. So unfortunately, after Leroy was brought back up, then there was some magic used to try to prevent the creature from striking out at Gale. The creature then took that opportunity to strike out, being unable to strike the same opponent with both of his attacks, chose to strike one out at Leroy, one out at Josephine, and this tail smash, such a large creature, dealt so much damage to Josephine as she lied on the ground there that unfortunately it was a fatal blow. The group was able to dispatch this dinosaur creature with unleashing probably most of the rest of their abilities that were still available to them at that moment. And once that creature was dispatched, they picked up the body of Josephine and made their way for the circle on the ground, which they assumed, based on what they had been told by Alexander, was the way out of here. As they stepped on it, they found themselves back in this sort of chamber in the bottomless dungeon that is connected to the lobby, but Josephine was nowhere to be seen. Her body was gone. So group, that is where you're at. Is there anything I missed here in our recap that you guys would like to add?
Adam, can you remind me what the creature was that, did the munchy munchy?
That did the munchy munchy.
The one that ate Josephine. What was that?
That was a dinosaur creature, which actually Josephine would like to be remembered as she got eaten, but she really got tail slapped on the ground. So. But all right, guys. So if there's nothing else to add to our recap, then we'll go ahead and get us back over to the shop. So group, you find yourself, as you're very much weary from this encounter that you have just had and exited out of the bottomless dungeon, one of you reaches forth, noticing this door as you're in this small rectangular chamber, and pulls this wood door open, grabbing onto a metal hanger there, and the light of the bottomless dungeon lobby suddenly fills this area. The odor changes pretty quickly as you can smell pipe smoke, and it has a different feel to it from the area that you were just in. And I imagine you slowly step out from this doorway to find yourself back in front of this shop, and you notice Alexander standing behind the counter just kind of turns and looks towards you.
Hey Adam, we leveled up, but we had not had a short rest yet, correct?
Long rest, correct.
Oh yeah, okay. Let me go back to summer. Still spicy. Hello, Alexander. We are perturbed right now. Our friend, which we had in our arms, coming back from this bottomless dungeon, had expired, and we want to bring him here. But her body is not here no more. Why? Do you has idea?
You see, he looks towards you and grabs out at this beard on his chin. Yes, those that fall in the bottomless dungeon remain there forever after.
I wondered if we knew that it would change our plan. I guess we just failed to ask.
Yeah, maybe we would have fought harder to be able to claim that. What difference does it make? It's just so sad.
Sad?
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, she was kind of grumpy at times, but I mean, We lost another party member. It's
I'm
so
furious.
sad.
I'm furious. So you'll tell
Oh,
me
that's right.
it's
We
all-
lost 2. Yeah, we lost Josh too. He fell off the cliff.
Taken down by an avian.
So yes, but my head is pounding because then what if we go back and then we find her? Is there something that we can do? What if we bring her back inside dungeon? She come out, okay?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, maybe you know some mystical thing that brings back heads once they've been smashed to
Do
pieces.
you need to always be in the way? Because for such a little tiny dragon person, you seem to always be stepping on my foot.
Yeah, I'm not trying. I'm just. She didn't look very good. I don't know if we could have. I don't think it would have. It was nasty.
Some adventurers have fallen in the bottomless dungeon before. As long as they are back to health before they exit, they are fine. They are able to exit from the bottomless dungeon. But should they fall inside of the bottomless dungeon, they cannot be brought outside. As for your earlier question, Mr. Gale, I believe it was, if you were to re-enter the bottomless dungeon, keep in mind that it is very unlikely that you would be taken to the same layer that you were just in.
That's correct.
So sad.
I have no time for sadness right now. We need to figure out. Leroy, why are you has cat on tongue? Didn't we revive Leroy? Is he?
He says on there that he was dropped also. I don't know if that meant from. Yeah.
You know, he did get dropped. I mean, he
Yeah.
went down, but I think he healed. Something happened. Like
He is wounded and perhaps a little bit winded and having a hard time getting words out.
well, maybe he could try to re-plug insert headset, and then might help.
The mysteries of the bottomless dungeon can't ever truly be known.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I
Oh,
gotcha.
finally, you get rid of cat on tongue.
Sometimes I confuse when you're speaking and just like screaming. So, my bad. But look, Alexander, is there like, you didn't tell us much about this whole if we die, we can't return kind of thing, you know? Is there anything else we need to know? You know, like, is there any things you left out?
You notice he smiles slightly. Are you under some impression or understanding that I am obligated to tell you everything that I know? If I for some reason gave you that impression, my apologies.
No, but you kind of got to level with me, man. I mean, you're a wizard who guards a bottomless dungeon door and then sells things that people find in there. So, like, people who wouldn't
and I've gotten
know the
quite
most.
frustrated and annoyed by those who fail to take the dangers into account. If you have specific questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. But if you expect me to babysit you and simply give you every piece of information, I'm afraid you're asking the wrong wizard.
What about a place to maybe get some shut-eye, something to eat?
Ah, well this I can help you with. You see, there is the city. It is a short distance away. You would have to get a ship in order to leave the island, take yourself into the city proper. I don't recommend it, however, because you would be outsiders there, and unlikely that they would take kindly to your presence. If instead you're willing to pay the price of 50 gold pieces, I can make the room of relaxation available for you.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better than getting on a ship and going to a place where people hate us.
No, I mean, let's be honest. He could just be telling us that because he likes the gold.
That's true, but we gotta sell this stuff anyways, and he's the only person that's gonna pay us for it anyways. You know what I mean? So we might as well just shave 50 gold off of whatever he's gonna give us for this stuff we found, and then take a nap.
Alexander, I got a question for you.
Oh, I'm
For
sorry.
me?
Was that
Oh.
for me, or who is your question for?
For you, Alexander, because you're so wise and you've got this great room. Does the 50 gold pieces also cover, like, fish and drink and fresh water and stuff like that? I mean, I want to see if we're getting a bargain.
You will find it most relaxing. The beds are quite comfortable, it is very peaceful, and there is a pleasing tune that is always played. Food and drink of your desire, within reason, is accommodated for you by some of the magical enchantments that are layered upon the room. You simply need to make a request at one of the tables, and you will find your requested food and drink is delivered. Of course, if you try to request something, well, unique or extravagant, perhaps, it may not work. But food, wine, drink, ale, water, these types of things are very reasonable and can be accomplished.
You need help keeping the place clean at all? I've got experience with that.
I'm afraid I would be unable to check your references. I can't imagine it is from anywhere around here.
No, I just like to volunteer sometimes. I like to be helpful, see if I can get discounts and things.
Well, speaking of discounts, before we lost two of our friends there, we did find this treasure chest full of weird things. So, you want to maybe take a look at it and, see what you'd like to pay us for it?
If you have items that you wish to sell, then yes, I am more than happy to take a look at them.
So,
Well, hold. I'm sorry. I'm seeing a bit. Why do I have this? What is this sword that looks like it's going to curse me? And I'm gonna draw it, and set it at the table.
I can identify magical items for you for a price of 25 gold pieces per item.
25 gold pieces per item? Okay, well, I have this one. Yes, I will give you 25 gold pieces. And I'll take it off my sheet.
Alright, as you count off these 25 gold pieces, you notice he looks at the sword carefully as it is laid on the counter in front of him. And you can see his eyes kind of close. You almost get an impression of maybe him sleeping, but he doesn't have this lack of alertness about him. He still seems to be very much aware of his surroundings. And then you see he kind of coughs a bit, blinks his eyes, and then his eyes open fully once again. Oh, yes, I see. This is a sword of gloom. It can spread gloom in an area, and it will deal some additional damage to those that it strikes. It is keyed to a command word. If you wish to set a different word, I can change it, for it is likely something you would be unable to pronounce at the moment.
Yes, I would like to use word whacking stick.
That's 2 words.
Oh.
2 words? No, but she already said it quickly. It sounded like 1 word. Leroy, doesn't it? How many words is whacking stick?
yeah, it's two different words. I can pick a word for you, but you're not
No.
gonna like it.
Well, I will choose whacking then, if that's simple enough.
And you notice he inclines his head as he moves his arm up and down the blade. And you can see little bolts of lightning kind of strike from his fingertips to the edge of the sword. It's very brief, just for a moment, and then he pulls his hand back and says, "It is done."
So do I need to sleep with it or something for a long time to be accustomed to it?
The blade does indeed require attunement.
Okay, well then I will make sure that I sleep with sword and call it a whacking stick. Thank you, sir. Good.
And yeah, Alexander, with that sword, we found this and this and this and this. And I'm gonna lay out the items that I didn't write down the individual items. I just wrote treasures from the dark. I think it was like a amulet and like a really nice leather cloak or something like that.
Ah, yes, from the treasure chest that Syl was able to get to and bring back to you all. You notice he kind of looks at them all and taps on his chin for a moment and says, "None of the items that you have laid here before me are magical, but if you wish to sell them, I can certainly purchase them as the lot from you. A fair price perhaps would be 2,000 gold pieces."
How about we make it 1,950 and you let us use that relaxation room.
And he inclines his head. "Yes, that would be appropriate."
Oh, there is one more thing, and I'm going to remove the bracelet from my wrist and set it on the table and say, I found this specially in a very hard to find box in the corner of the room with some puppetry, but I put it on and I now wish that maybe you could tell me what it does.
And I may have missed that there. Were you also handing him 25 gold pieces as you asked this?
If he thinks that it needs to be identified, then yes.
So as you set the bracelet on the table, you notice he just looks at it for a moment and says, "Yes, I can identify this for 25 gold pieces."
Well, that I feel like, Leroy, I feel like we are winning.
Yeah, just take those winnings out of your cut there.
So we, okay, 650 each. Okay, watch this. Okay, I will add 600. No. Okay, I'll do the math, but yes, I'll give him 25 gold.
Just add 625 to whatever you got now.
Oh, smarty pants. Okay.
All right, and he explains to you what it does. Revealed there in text, essentially the short version is you can pluck one of the skulls off of this bracelet and throw it. It will turn into a skeleton under your control. If you choose to use more of these skeletons that you break off at a time and throw, a stronger version of an undead creature will appear. He also implies to you that if you should think for some reason to not pluck any of them, but instead throw the entire bracelet, an unknown effect would occur.
My brain hurts already trying to deduce the uses of this. Does somebody else want to use this?
Well, if it's like undead and they get mean to us, they'll have a hard time hitting me. So I can keep it, but
you can control it if you tossed it.
yeah, you never know that though. I mean, how can you really control somebody? You know what I mean? But Kurtu, you do a lot of in the back throwing things, ranged attacks.
But I'm not so strong. I mean, for Dragorn, I'm strong, of course. But some of you may be able to toss it further or something. And skeletons are icky.
Remember, that takes an action to do so. So maybe something we do. Oh, the skeleton lasts for 1 minute. Oh, that's okay.
You know what? We'll just keep it, and we'll think on it.
Maybe if we find another party member who joins the group, that they may want a skeleton necklace thing.
Yeah, we need somebody edgy.
Someone who's the dark writings all around the eye.
Yeah, breaks the mold.
Oh, that's perfect. Where do we find such person?
And how much is this worth? Maybe we could sell it to them too for a lot of gold.
Maybe. Either way, does anybody want to buy anything before we go? I mean, he did have some stuff here.
Well, maybe updating. I mean, I already have 2 updated healing potions, but maybe it may be a good idea to make sure we got those.
Yes, that is very, very Very
Wise.
uniquely
Wise is the
smart.
word you're thinking of.
Very
Yeah.
uniquely. I've never heard you be so smart. I have 2 healing potions. How much, Sir Alexander, to have them potented?
And you place just regular common potions of healing on the counter for this?
Yes, I do.
And you notice he nods and says, I can make them permanent for 100 gold pieces, and they will be fully effective inside the Bottomless Dungeon.
Very well. I will hand you the 100. 1, 2, 3.
He will accept your coin and slide it off into a drawer on the other side of the counter. If you are ready to retire to the room of relaxation,
Yeah, I'm good.
So what we mentioned last time we were here about maybe like a ring of protection or something. Do you have like a cloak, a nice cloak of protection that you could sell us for cheap? That works good.
for cheap, no. Unfortunately, such things are quite expensive.
How much is expensive?
Roll a d6. Based on what I have currently in stock, you would be looking at somewhere in the realm of 4,000 gold pieces.
You know, my luck just I'm happen to be rolling over half. I don't know. I wish I rolled a 1. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, maybe we find more treasure chests on this next level.
And you notice as you guys drift, maybe just speaking with one another and not so much with Alexander, he just raises his hands in the air and does a quick clap. And with that, you can hear the sound of movement, and as your eyes are drawn to the southeast corner of this room, you notice the floor actually lifts up as though it is being pulled by some unseen hands. And you notice there is a rectangle suddenly created in the ground that looks more finer cut than any man's hand cut could actually perform. And you see a ladder actually seems to grow out of the ground and appear right at the edge. And you notice he motions with his hand. There, gentlemen, the room of relaxation.
You gotta teach me that thing before we leave. That was pretty cool.
You notice he looks at with a raised eyebrow and says, I'm afraid you don't have the talents to learn such magic, for your abilities lie more in your bloodline. This is ancient secrets of wizardry.
I won't tell you mine if you won't tell me yours, but that's okay.
Does this look like a trap, or am I like catching any like whiffs of him trying to lure us into his basement or anything?
Give me a blind check, please.
I don't want to get Buffalo Billed, guys.
You're so funny, man.
You realize that Alexander has this sort of like stoic way that he explains things, and it's been very difficult to read any emotion or truth, validity, anything like that in his face. So as he says this and points to it, maybe this little bit of dread goes down the back of your back of your neck, but you don't pick up anything one way or the other that leans towards truth or false.
As long as it's not in the ocean, Leroy's going to start descending the ladder.
All right, rest of the group, are you following?
Most definitely.
Yes.
All right, group, as you descend down the ladder, your boots clinging to each rung as you're making your way down, and as you're climbing, it seems like kind of a far climb. So Leroy, you'd be the first one down. It ends up being a good 30 feet down or so, and you kind of keep looking down. You can see it's kind of strange. It's almost like dark down below, similar perhaps to the area of the Bottomless Dungeon you were just in, and you take another step, and eventually your foot comes to rest on the ground. But now as you turn and look, it's all like lit up. It's very strange as it wasn't lit up moments ago. But you do find yourself in sort of a central area where you can notice several bedrooms seem to just break off from the center. In the center, there is this really nice looking long table, and you can see it is very well decorated with high-end accoutrements. You could think of this as being a noble's attire, perhaps, or decorations, that kind of thing. It all looks very upper class and very exquisite. And much like Alexander said, there's this just music. Almost you assume like maybe this is from a harp or maybe even an orchestra, but you don't see anybody. The music seems to just be suffusing the place as though it's coming from all around all at once. So this, what you're seeing on screen right now, would be one of the bedrooms that breaks off of the center. Think of this as like an alcove. So altogether, you see that there's a total of 8 bedrooms, and each one branches off from this central area that looks to be a combination, perhaps, sitting room / dining room, as there's areas with couches and chairs, and then there's a large dining table where you can see it seems as though it's fit for 8 individuals to sit around the table.
I'm gonna walk up to the table where I believe is like the magical table he told me about that will procure my food. And I'm just gonna start thinking about entire turkeys.
And as you approach this table and you're looking at it and this thought is in your head, you notice stuck right in the center of this table is a jagged looking dagger that is pressed into a piece of parchment right at the center of the table.
I really want some turkey. I'll grab the dagger and look at the piece of parchment, hoping that maybe it won't interfere with me eating.
And as you unfurl the parchment, you notice written in a fine script is some words.
Kurtu! Where are you?
I'm right next to you. You can't see. You gotta look down sometimes.
Yeah, man. Well, you gotta make more noise when you move. God.
I know, I'm stealthy.
Look, there's a poem.
Who are the Phandalin Rising Stars? I don't understand.
That would be us. We're rising stars. We're the heroes of this story, of course.
I don't feel like much of a hero.
You're a little gloomy, Gale. You might want maybe some ale or a bath, maybe.
I am fiery still, but I do sense a change in my mood with the tragic loss of Josephine being crushed by the tail of the endless dragon or the dinosaur, whatever it was.
It's so sad. It was yucky. I'm gonna try something though. I would like a plate of fish.
Well, hang on. Look.
Wait a minute. What's wrong with? Why do you always eat
Because
when you
it
have a
said
puzzle?
whisper on the wind, so I'm whispering that I
Hang
want.
on. Look, I was gonna use it first, and then I invited you guys over to look at this poem. You can't skip me.
I thought you were afraid. I'm
You know,
sorry.
Kurtu,
Go ahead.
stand in line, please. Thank you, Dylan. We should have.
I want
is there
a plate of fish.
Is there a PvP room we can go to, Master Dungeon Master?
All right. Look. It says, "Heed well the whispers on the wind, for we would make of you our kin. From deepest gloom we glimpse your light, from shadows we would aid your plight. Awaken at the witching hour, and we will lend to you our power.
Yeah, what
Though
I'm saying
evil
is
pawns
you're at
move
home now.
yet unseen,
Go ahead and order food. And
together we will take their queen." Kurtu, look, man. Somebody left this here for us, obviously.
So, what is
I
a witching
get it.
hour? What is a witching hour? I'm not from this town. I just want to smack something.
Witching
Well,
hour.
it's usually like late at night.
Yeah, it's like when it's darkest in the eve. I don't know, it's usually like right around like right past midnight or something when it's, darkest,
Dark.
Yes, I can understand.
Are you afraid of the
simple
dark?
English. No, I understand simple English. Okay, I just want to know what time I set my alarm clock for.
Yeah, just set it for dark hour. I'm
All
hungry.
right. I'm gonna look at the table and start thinking about an entire turkey.
I'm whispering it. I would like a plate of fish for you, for you servant people.
Okay, so Leroy, you say this out loud as you're standing in front of the table?
Yeah, I just declare it.
All right, your words sort of echo in this hall just momentarily, but you see no change or anything occur. And Kurtu, when you say the same and you're kind of just looking at the table, maybe tiptoeing to see over the edge of the table here, yeah, you say these words, but nothing seems to happen.
You clearly have the wrong table. By the way, the queen, who is that reference to? Is that the Tiamat person who came up after they scared the shit out of the other dragon?
Adam, do I know if they refer to Tiamat as any kind of queen? I don't know who they would be.
Well, yeah, and I can't say who they is based on your knowledge. This is just, a piece of paper with writing on it. But has Tiamat ever been referred to as queen? Certainly, like Queen of Dragonkind. That title's certainly been used for her before.
Well, I think this is... I don't know, man. It's obvious that whatever's going on is bigger than us, right?
Well, it's certainly bigger than Kurtu.
You know what? I just want to tell you, I'm working on a new spell where I can go ahead and change you into a frog, potentially. So you might want to be nice to me.
Okay, lizard boy.
I think we probably need some rest, right? Let's all get some rest. I don't know where to get this freaking food. Maybe one of you guys can figure it out. But
Isn't there another table around? Maybe is there like a dining room? That would be a logical thing.
The table that you're at now seems to be the dining room table, would be your best guess. There are other small tables like end tables, that kind of thing, against the walls that have more finery, small plants, decorations, that kind of thing. But this certainly seems to be the dining room table, and it has 8 chairs placed around it.
Does any of them have like a kid's stool or anything?
You don't see any little chairs at the moment, but they're not massive at the same time. You probably would have to be a little bit, feet off the ground, but you could fit in one.
Cool.
What did Alexander say? Did he say we're supposed to make words and then it magically appears?
I don't know. I'm gonna try to sit down and imagine myself eating it, and maybe that'll work.
Is there any special design on the dagger? I mean, maybe it's a special dagger.
Okay, Kurtu, as you're analyzing the dagger, sort of looking at the hilt and the blade, that sort of thing. Leroy, as you pull a chair back and sit down and start getting ready to pull yourself closer to the table, you feel as though someone behind you has shifted you in very comfortably underneath, and with a slight airy sort of essence in the air, you get this whiff of maybe clean, perhaps. You notice a napkin suddenly just appears across your lap. And yeah, you're looking at the table and you can sort of smell a bunch of different odors and flavors at this point. Salts and cinnamons and spices and just all these flavors essentially run through your mind.
Yeah, I don't tell them anything because they've been rude to me all before breakfast.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to sit here and keep imagining because it seems to be
working.
working.
Again, I'm going to say I would like a plate full of fish.
And as you're standing there looking at Leroy sitting down, you're thinking this, you don't see anything. But Leroy, yeah, so it sounds like you're thinking about turkeys, essentially?
Yeah, I want think like Thanksgiving-style turkey, like big old massive turkey. That's what Leroy's thinking.
All right, so as this solidifies in your mind and these scents get stronger and more poignant, you do notice almost again, like with a wisp in the air, there's a very large platter that suddenly appears a little bit in front of you on front of this dining room table with a very oversized turkey. You notice cutting blades. You can see suddenly that there are serving plates that just sort of pop into existence nearby. Yeah, it looks like you have everything here for a turkey meal.
I'm going to look at everybody and say, okay, what are you guys eating? And then just rip off a leg and start munching.
All right.
Fine, I will sit down and do the same. And I will think about having wild boar with apple in mouth, the whole boar.
Okay, very similarly for you, Gale. As you sit down, you feel again as though you're scooted in. The napkin appears on your lap, and sure enough, after a few moments thinking this and the smell and the taste solidifies in your mind, you see a big plate of wild boar suddenly appears that all looks well cooked, rotisserie style with a large apple in its mouth.
Whoa, this is worth 50 gold pieces. Do we have to leave tip before we leave, you think?
Didn't say anything on the bill about gratuity, so Maybe just some thanks. Thank you, kind spirits of the relaxation room. Kurtu, you gotta sit down and think. Think about what fish.
I'm now thinking that I want some really smelly, uncooked fish. I'm not going to say it, I'm just going to think about how wonderful it would be to have uncooked fish where everyone gets to smell it with me.
And I imagine both Leroy and Gail are just digging into their foods as you're standing there, Kurtu, and you think of this, but nothing happens.
Whatever you guys are getting your food and I'm not.
You gotta sit down, man.
I am sitting.
So my understanding was that you had not sat down yet.
Oh no! You mentioned earlier. You said okay, you go to the table and you get the napkins. I was assuming I was sitting down.
Oh, that was for Leroy, yeah.
So
I think you said Kurtu though. I'm sorry. I thought
did
you
I?
said me.
No, slip of the tongue. Yeah. I did. Yeah.
So naturally, we cannot tell to Kurtu if you are standing or sitting.
So we'll assume that you have taken a seat then, noticing obviously this pattern that once your companions sit down, this is what seems to happen. And yeah, as you think of this, you do notice the raw fish suddenly starts appearing on a plate. So like the plate appears first, and then you can see a variety of colors of different sizes of fish suddenly just seem to pop in there. The odor is fairly strong, but it doesn't look as though either of your companions have picked it up or it's bothering them in any way.
Oh, that would have been half the fun, though, you know.
I will also try to imagine a nice frosty mug of ale. Not the kind that tastes like shampoo, and more of the better kind.
And you'll notice that a mug appears sort of like in the middle of the air, perhaps 2 feet in front of you here, Gale. And you suddenly see a bottle appears as well and just tips over. And you can hear that classic sound of the mug getting full. And you even notice the mug tips slightly on end to allow the liquid to settle just perfectly. And you have that perfect amount of head on the ale there, all that foam, as that is fully complete. And then it just sets down right in front of you. And the pouring bottle just is gone.
Spasiba.
I just crack the cork off of one of the wineskins that I brought full of ale, and I'm just going to start drinking that with my turkey.
All right, excellent. So yeah, you guys obviously have a great meal here in front of you, whatever it is that you could wish for as far as food and drink. Leroy still being pretty badly hurt. I imagine you're going to want to tend to your wounds or at least try to get some rest before too long. Is there anything in particular anybody would like to do here in the room of relaxation?
Yes, Leroy, pardon me from your vine, but did he also mention the fact that there are many tables that we could talk to? I think something like that.
Nope, I think it was just like you could get food and beverage, but I wasn't really paying attention as much as I should have because my microphone wasn't working.
So now I have to rely on Kurtu's.
Hold on, let me go ahead and try something else. So I'm going to go ahead and think about a bag of gold in front of us.
You don't see anything appears.
I didn't think so.
I'm going to go lay down.
All right, so as you've completed eating your meal here, Leroy, as you step away from the dining room table, push your chair back, get up, you notice the chair just slowly pushes itself back in without you having to do anything. And you notice pretty quickly the remains of your food here just start wisping away as though they're being bussed by an unseen servant, perhaps. As you make your way to one of these areas, you can see large drapes and sort of a gossamer cloth that separates this bedroom from the main hall. As you kind of just split that down the middle and step on inside, you notice a very luxurious bedroom. You can see that the bed looks quite comfortable, and there's like an open space nearby the bed that's fairly large. Hard to say exactly what that might be for, but yes, it looks like a really nice place.
Nice, yeah. Leroy just kind of walks in and just like gently collapses into the giant bed, and he's going to try his best to sleep off some of his wounds.
All right, and as you lay in the bed, you can actually feel almost as though the bed itself is massaging your back and your legs and your arm, and you can actually hear the sound of unclasping as armor, most of clothing, like anything besides small clothes. It's as though the sheets of the bed are very gently caressing and pulling these things off of you. And as you watch, kind of in surprise, you notice it's almost like they ride as like little animals down the bed to the foot, where there is this small little setting table there, and each of your pieces of clothes is like shaken out, and it looks as though it's being a really quick clean job, and then folded up really nicely right at the front. Boots kind of come off and just go to the bottom, and you see them clap together as dirt kind of kicks off of them, hits the ground and vanishes, and then their laces are actually done up and sit there perfectly. Eventually you realize you're down to just your sleeping attire, and everything else looks like it's been perfectly cleaned and folded for you at the foot of the bed.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up and then just lay back down and just pass out.
All right. Anything else from the other two team members? Anything you'd like to do?
What other rooms are around? It's the center room that we're in, and then our bedrooms are like down the hallway or whatever.
So think of it as a central room with bedrooms that come off of it in every direction. So basically 3 on the west side, 3 on the east side, 1 on the north, 1 on the south, and then there is the ladder in the northwest corner. So it doesn't seem like there's any additional rooms behind this main hall and then the individual bedrooms. The main hall is split between like a dining room setup and then a sitting room setup, and that's kind of like split right down the middle. So you guys were spending your time at the dining room, and then like I say, there's this other section of the hall that looks to be more of like a sitting area.
Corto, would you like to sit in a sitting area and you can tell me all about your problems?
Hey. I can tell you about the new spell I'm working on.
Yes, let's go to let's withdraw to the drawing room. And I'll have
Got a drawing.
Is there chairs there and stuff?
Yes, it looks like seating chairs as well as couches, love seats, that kind of thing.
I'll take a seat on the...
I'm not sitting on anything called love with him in the room. No.
I'll sit on the love seat.
All right, so as you both back away from the dining room table, very similar to Leroy, you notice that your dishes are cleaned up for you as they kind of just vanish away. The table looks completely clean. The chairs are pushed back underneath. If you didn't know any better, it would be like you had never been here to eat this meal. It looks exactly as it was when you first arrived. As you make your way to the sitting room and kind of look at these different areas, trying to pick a seat, and eventually, Gail, you set her for the love seat. You notice as you sit down at first, the love seat's kind of on its own, off on the side. And as you sit down, you notice the little tables suddenly start walking over next to you and set there as though they're room for you could place a drink, perhaps. You can see that a book actually falls off of a back shelf. It kind of goes towards the ground and then picks up, and its bindings start moving as though they are wings. And it flaps over, rests on this table that just pulled itself up next to you, and just turns ever so slightly so that the front text of the book is perfectly lined up with your sight as you turn to see it. And you can see it says the land of Sobotaishu on it.
Well, I'm sure that my CSL training will forbid me to really understand this book, but I'm gonna open it up and think about this dungeon, this bottomless dungeon, and imagine that, and see if I could read anything in the book. Sorry, I'm going way off script here.
Hey, that may be a good idea, you know?
All right, so as you pick up the book, you notice that it is written in a language that you don't read, and as you look at it and your eyes blink a bit, you can see all of these special phonetic, or not phonetically, they're more like symbols, you could think of them as. The symbols actually start to bend and twist and turn into letters that are written in the common tongue. You can even see there is little like footnotes that suddenly appear, and little entries that are in slightly different colored ink from the typical black in this book that suddenly appear as though author notes on the side, maybe adding context and stuff like that. You notice on the top it says, where it says Sobotaishu, that doesn't change, but you notice suddenly in this very fine, slightly different colored ink, there's like quotation marks, and then you see it says Endrock underneath there. And then you again start looking through this. It looks to be, as you're kind of glancing through it here, Gail, it's like a primer on what you assume to be the island city outside of where the Bottomless Dungeon is located on this particular island. It sort of seems to be about the peoples, the cultures, the foods, the districts of the city, cultural information. So almost think of it as like a traveler's guide to this location.
Well, that's very interesting. So I guess the magic in like it opened up the servants or the magic of the room opened up my comprehend languages, basically. I can read stuff. That's nice.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, you don't see any magic other than the obvious visual effects in front of you as the symbols change to letters and then suddenly it's readable. You're not sure if you're affected by this or this is just magic of the room that adjusts the book to you.
Okay, well, I'll read it, particularly if there's any reference to this Bottomless Dungeon and Alexander.
Sure, okay. And Kurtu, is there anything in particular you're doing here in the sitting room?
I'm just watching him read.
All right, and are you taking a seat somewhere or you're standing and watching?
Oh no, I'm going to sit down. I mean, heck, I may get my toes cleaned or something. I mean, this place is great.
So as you sit down, you notice from behind you, you're like on more of this longer couch. You can see this longer coat actually like jumps out as a drawer opens from this little chest of drawers from behind you. It actually leaps out, hits the couch that you're sitting on, and starts crawling its way over you. And as you kind of glance, it starts like working its way down your back, and it's seemingly like it's trying to put itself on you. Do you allow it?
Oh, I do, and I take off my boots too. And I motion to them that, that a pedicure is fine, could happen.
So as you allow this coat, this jacket essentially to get put on you on the arms, you notice that it gets done up again as though someone's taking care of this task for you. And you realize, glancing at it, I'm not sure if Kurtu would necessarily recognize what this is, but essentially what it is a smoking jacket. And you notice then suddenly a pipe actually lifts off from another area and starts hovering over until it gets close to you. And you can see it like its tip, where the mouthpiece is, kind of like bobs towards you. And you get the impression it's like essentially seeing if you want to smoke.
It's not a habit I've been trying before, but anything goes for first time. So I will go ahead and I'm just going to live it up in luxury. That's what I'm going to do, Adam.
So as you kind of pucker your lips a little bit, like, yeah, okay, you notice that it gently just puts itself in your mouth and you hear, and suddenly you see the pipe lights up, and yeah, you start smoking this very elegant looking pipe. So Gail, on the other side, as you're watching this happen to Kurtu, as you're still looking towards the book, you don't notice as you're kind of flipping through here pretty quickly. It's a fairly big book, and it would obviously take you a significant amount of time to get through all of it. But as you're flipping through, looking for anything to do with the Bottomless Dungeon or with Alexander, it takes you probably a good 15 minutes or so before near the back, you do see a passage on here that it calls it the Lonely Island. And as you look at this and you're like, that's kind of strange, it then starts discussing this fantastical location known as the Bottomless Dungeon, and it gives some brief details about it, mentioning that it is secluded from the rest of the area.
Anything new from what we already know?
As you spend some time reading it here, it's very much, sort of myth and legend and a lot of ifs and buts and not a whole lot of specifics. It's a lot of information I would say you already have, and you realize that it's not very specific to exact science. It's more or less, stories that people have told about their experiences here, and, not everybody comes back. So mostly stuff you've already heard.
Okay, well, this is very, very tiring to me. My eyes are getting tired from this enormous book of common language. I guess I would, I think it's getting, I don't know if it's getting late, but I would set the book down, and I could feel myself getting tired and also a bit cranky a little bit. So I'm going to close my eyes, and I want to just remember Bryn, my sister, and what it was like. And then I also want to remember Josephine, who I know, and I just want to sit there and just think about her life, and if maybe she's pleased with me or she would comfort me at this moment. But I won't admit it, but I'm a little scared.
So as you're a bit tired here and you're wondering what time it is as you're sitting in the love seat, you notice a water clock floats off from the back and kind of angles itself towards you. And again, perhaps not really a lot of experience with water clocks, but it's as though looking at this fairly carefully, it is able to dawn in your mind that it is getting fairly late. You remember Alexander mentioned that time doesn't necessarily flow the same way in the Bottomless Dungeon that it does outside of it. And you haven't gone outside to see the sun in the sky or anything like that, but you get the impression that this is implying that it's sort of closer to like the 10 p.m. hour.
Gertu, how do you like pipe?
You know, I mean, I've eaten some weird stuff in my life, as you know, and this pipe is, you know, it's smoky and it's not much different than other stuff. It's good. It's nice.
I don't think you are supposed to eat it, though.
I'm just saying it tastes good. I'm just saying. You do your pipe, I do mine.
Very well. So this book seems to not add any more information that we would store into our brains. So I think I'm tired, getting a bit contemplative, and maybe it's time to go to bed. But make sure we wake up at the witching hour. How do we make sure we don't? How do we make sure we wake up? Did it tell us to wake up?
Simple. Around here, let me just tell you how magic works, right? You just tell the magical alarm clock that's probably in your room, and you say, "Hello, magical alarm clock, wake me up at the witching hour." And that's it. That's how these... Look at everything. It's just that simple around here.
Well, okay, so I will think, servant, can you help me wake up at witching hour? I'll even say it out loud, Mr. Host, and wake us all up. I think we all have to wake up, and then maybe we can still qualify for long rest, even though we get up for 1 hour.
So it sounds like you would like to make your way to one of these bedrooms as you're thinking all this and hoping that there's some magical recording listening to your requests?
Oh, no, not me. I'm just going to sleep.
All right, fair enough, Kurtu. So you just make your way to the room, plop down in the bed. You would notice a very similar experience to Leroy. Any goods on you, boots, anything like that, would just suddenly get drawn down to the foot of the bed and just make you as comfortable as can be. And the covers and sheets actually tuck you in, and it's very, very relaxing.
Yes, and I'll go to the bed and hoping that somehow I wake up at the witching hour. Is there a clock in my room or anything? A water clock or something?
You don't see a water clock here. You know that water clocks are actually very pricey. So there was one sort of out in the hall, like on the mantle area, you could think of it as. But it doesn't look like there's individual water clocks in each bedroom.
Well, Gale is not, as you have probably determined, he's not the brightest knife in the toolbox. So he's going to go to the water clock and say, "Will you please wake me up at witching hour," which I don't know, but it might be like midnight, just for like a couple of minutes, and see if this letter, that'd be nice.
All right, you whisper this to the water clock. You don't notice any reaction. You're not sure if this had any impact, but I assume you then retire to one of the rooms?
Yes, then I'll go to the room.
All right, and as you enter the room and get into bed, very similarly, anything on you gets pulled off, cleaned, and arranged for you at the foot. And all three of you notice now, as you're in your beds for a short bit of time, the lights all around you, the candles, the lamps, these types of things, they slowly dim until then they are suddenly put out. And everything is quiet. Even the over music that is just suffusing this area, it seems to dim, and it's just barely audible. Something that you could hear and sort of focus and or concentrate on, but it's just barely there in the background as all of you are drifting off to sleep. Okay, so yes, as you're sleeping in these very comfortable arrangements, the wearies of the day seem to slough off you as you guys are recuperating and recovering as you're having this relaxing time. This room obviously has some very odd properties, very quite strange, but overall it seems very comfortable and you find yourself sleeping very deeply and restfully. Nobody experiences any kind of strange dreams here. It's all very pleasant. Much of like relaxation. So maybe some of the dreams that you can actually call upon to memory are things of like relaxing in lounges and very low-key salon type events where you're sitting with all these individual people, that sort of thing. When it's hard to say exactly what the time is, but each of you is suddenly awoken, and you kind of blink your eyes, realizing that you're still a little groggy, you're still a little tired. You get the impression that perhaps that you have woken early, but yeah, you find yourself in these bedrooms.
I'm gonna try to go back to sleep.
Okay, so you toss and turn a little bit here, Leroy, and as you kind of like move and put your head on the other side of the pillow, you feel the sheet sort of tugging you to the edge of the bed.
Dude. Why? Why do I gotta get up? Do you speak? Sheet? Hello?
And you notice it actually unfurls and just folds halfway down, so now you're only halfway covered by the covers entirely.
I'm just in my skimpies. I'm gonna grab my shield and my sword, and I'm just gonna walk out into the hallway.
Okay, as you walk into the main hall, it is very dark here. Thanks to your dark vision, you're able to see, but it is still pretty dark, and you see that, much like you left it yesterday, nothing seems out of the ordinary. It is quite quiet here. Other two, Kurtu and Gale, very similarly, you find yourself awoken as well.
It worked. I pop out of bed, and I'll walk expectingly to the table where we found the parchment.
Okay, and how about Kurtu?
A lot of bed too, I get. And I'm figuring it's time for eating.
All right, so it sounds like maybe Kurtu wakes up with a little bit of hunger. So eventually, all three of you find yourself out in this dining hall by the very large table where you originally found this dagger, kind of blinking your eyes, maybe wiping the sleepies out of the corners of your eyes as you're looking at each other, and perhaps a bit confused.
Yes, I'm very confused. Why are you sitting here with underwear pants on, with sword and shield?
Because I didn't want to wake up at witching hour. I wanted to sleep the whole time. Did you set my alarm also?
I might have said something to the air, to the clock, to something so that we would be awake. Is that okay?
No, man. I wanted to get my full 8 hours. I gotta get my beauty sleep. I was in this doctor's office kind of setting, and it was really nice and quiet, and I was reading a magazine, and I was talking to this old man who was also reading a magazine, and then poof. So what is so important? It was a poem, man. It was a poem, man.
Well, no, it is more than that. This is a magical place, and by the way, I think you will only need 6 hours.
I don't know who told you that. Maybe that's why your hair changes colors, man. You gotta get the full 8.
You really just all walked out here without any armor or protection, except for you. Astonishing.
This voice seems to come from the table, but as the three of you look in this direction, you see nothing.
Oh my
Whoever's
God.
talking to us.
We were so close to a full night's rest.
That
We were
sounded
so
like
close.
a servant, though. Didn't that sound like somebody who would be your slave? Yep, that's who it sounded like.
Wait,
You are extraordinarily lucky that I am not here to kill you.
Slave, I want unboiled eggs.
I might be here to kill you.
Kurtu, the person's voice seems rather earnest. Are
If
you a table? Are you a table? Are you a table? Do you need freed from the table?
I'm sorry I ate on you earlier.
I wasn't here.
Oh,
But
so
now
you're
I
not
am.
the table? What are you
No.
talking about, Gale?
It seems you can't see me. You may wish to turn the lights on.
Oh, okay. Please have lights turned on. Thank you.
Clap, clap, clap.
And as you say this out loud, Gail, and you're looking around kind of confused, you do notice suddenly lights illuminate on the corners, on the walls. These lamps and things, they start very dim. And as the light extends, you notice there's nothing on the table, and then suddenly light is cast directly on the table. And what is revealed there?
Do you have my picture, or do you want me to post it in the Discord?
I have it, yes. I'll go ahead and... actually, let me do this a slightly different way, but go ahead and describe it verbally, and I'll get it put in a handout for us.
Sure. So you see as the shadows fade and the lights come on, there's this like rippling motion in the air next to the table, not seated, but like standing there. It fades away, and you see this very pale woman with short cropped black hair. She's wearing something that almost looks like armor, but you can kind of tell it's just like cloths and bracings and that kind of stuff. So it's not like leather or plate or anything. She's got a longbow at her back and two swords at her side, though they're sheathed at the moment. And what you immediately notice that is not in the picture, but is that her eyes, contrasted to like the bright white, the pale skin, the paleness of her skin, is like piercing red. So she's standing there at the table, and she looks around. She looks a little tense being in the light, like she doesn't really like it, but she knows that she kind of has to be to interact with you, so she's gonna deal with it.
Would you call yourself edgy? We're looking for somebody edgy. We got this bracelet.
Who are you? What are you doing in our room?
My sword has an edge, but I'm here at the appointed time, as was specified.
I knew it. I knew it.
Did you write the poem? It was good. You could have rhymed a little better, but it was pretty good.
The words were not of my choosing. My master has a bit of a dramatic flair.
Oh, Alexander, he is a bit weird.
Alexander knows nothing of this.
What? You creeped into his room of relaxation without him knowing?
Oh,
You
he
You have
knows
to
I
pay
was
50
here.
gold.
He knows I was here, but he will not interfere with my business.
Well, look, you interrupted our sleep. Gail looks awfully excited to see you, though. What's with the letter? Why are we meeting you in the dead of night?
It is our way. We do not want prying eyes or ears to overhear our conversation. My name is Spectre of the Whispering Wind.
That's a long one.
I represent my people back from the Sword Coast, where you left without much explanation, but we tracked you down. The intent is to bring you back, to deal with the problems that will soon be afoot as a result of your heroics. Though now that I mention it, there seem to be fewer of you than I was expecting.
Oh yeah, we are trying to find this little black box, and a few of us. So one of us got eaten by a bird. One of us got smashed by a dinosaur tail, but I already forgot. We're supposed to tell you that she got eaten by the dinosaur. That didn't really happen though. Just strike that from the record. But there was another one. She died a little bit further back. There was a turtle guy. He died. There was an orc. He got killed by a troll. Well, yeah. You got us three though.
But you don't got us anything. I don't even know your name.
She said it. She said it's Spectre of the...
Spectre
Woo!
of the Shadows.
Just
White
I
Wind?
thought that was a title.
call me Spectre. The Whispering Wind is the organization that
You
I
can
work
call me Dragorn, that's my name.
Spectre, my name is Gale Fuseflaw. It's nice to meet you. I've been expecting you.
I am Leroy. That is Kurtu the Dragoran. I don't get why we're supposed to take this ship right out this way, and then now we're expected back that way. Like, I don't mind going back and helping with this thing or whatever, but look, we've got to find this box. At least if we don't return it to whoever it is, this box is supposed to make a lot of money, just all the time. So it'd be nice to have that.
Who are your masters telling you to come get us? I don't know. I don't have a master.
Kurtu, didn't you used to, like, serve a gold dragon?
That's not the same thing. They're not my masters. They're just wicked awesome.
Okay, alright.
I'm from New England. We just talk wicked awesome stuff.
So, yeah, I guess the little one has a point. My lady. I don't know, that sounds like a title you have there, but, who's your master, and why do they want us to come back?
My master is unknown even to me. It's how we operate isolated cells to ensure that nothing that doesn't need to be known is known by people who don't need to know it. I know only a name and a contact. My master's name is Enigma, but I have never met her in person. As for why you need to return, I would have thought it obvious from what she wrote for you.
I told you it had something to do with pissing off that five-headed dragon lady.
Hey, look, we didn't she specifically looked at you, Gale.
But for it was accident. I just happened to be in line of all of her 5 heads.
Yeah, I guess 10 eyes all looking at the same person. Yeah, that awfully coincidental. Okay, look, we know we probably have to clean a few things up, but can it wait till we finish our little
And now that we're becoming more and more popular, I think our prices need to go up too.
I assure you, you will be well compensated for your efforts.
We're also getting
When
well
you
compensated here too.
I understand. Are you under contract to retrieve this box? What manner of... I assume it has
Missionary
to be
group,
Bottomless Dungeon.
we charge 1,000 gold a day these days because we're good, and that's what happens. And so far that's what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
Wait, you get 1,000 gold a day for this thing? Leroy, are you getting 1,000 gold a day for this thing?
So
Yeah.
we were hired by this old guy at a tavern. He works for some other guy, some more famous guy who wants something returned to him. I don't know, man. There was a lot of... I asked the question and then it just kept going and going. It was way more of an answer than I really wanted to get. But I didn't sign a contract. We just said, yeah, we'll do it.
Again, we're in high demand.
So, if I understand this correctly, you met some guy in a bar and he told you to get this thing for him. And you said sure, without knowing why, without knowing the politics of this region, without knowing what it might affect, you just went for it?
That's the short version, but also it sounds a lot better than someone named Misty coming into our room with a knife and saying, oh, by the way, you're wanted in this other area to go backwards. I'm just saying, everyone's got a story, and I'm just telling it.
And I just want to point out the painfully obvious that your boss's name is Puzzle. That's not fair.
Though I
I
don't
don't make the rules.
Now, I know I'm with CSL's degree, but maybe she said that her patron isn't necessarily actually named what was it? Enigma? More like in theory or in an allegory?
It's probably not her real name.
See? So that's not her real name. Does that make it even? No, that makes it worse. Does that make it worse?
Okay, well, what does she need us to do? Are we fetching another little box somewhere else? I mean, come on. What are we?
Trying to kill the Dragon Queen and her minions.
Oh, see, that's elevating it way more.
Yeah, that's more than 1,000 gold a day.
Killing the Dragon Queen? Like, you're talking about the Dragon Queen, Tiamat, the lady, big old baddie?
Whatever incarnation she brings into the world, yes. That's the plan.
What? That's above the three of us. There's like cities with armies and stuff for that.
So
But my people are watching your careers with great interest. They think you will be an asset to the cause. Do not disappoint them. You will not like what happens if you disappoint them.
So,
Look,
so
Mel's been disappointing people his whole life.
He's true. But
so-
look,
so what
do
is
I have
what
to
you're
ride a
going
boat?
to? No, we might have to ride the boat, but look, mysterious figure, Miss Misty. So you were to deliver us to your people, and then they will give us real adventurers, right, to help us.
I am under contact to deliver you safely back home, and then what happens next is out of my hands, though I assume I will be staying with you for the foreseeable future. If you accept, that is. It sounds as though you have a mission of great import here. If that is true, if you do not wish to leave until it is completed, I am under orders to assist you in whatever manner you require.
So this new person here makes a lot of sense. This stupid box for some guy we met at the bar. She's actually probably the smartest one in this room.
Statistically likely, based on our interactions.
I don't
so
know.
far.
I just got the I just heard you say that you're here to do whatever we say. Is that correct?
I don't think that's what she said, but I do want to point.
I'm going to push back the tape. That's what Jordan
Or the
accidentally
challenge
said.
flag.
Accidentally. No, I told you. I explained to you the orders that I was given.
Okay, but look, so we sail back with you. Where are we supposed to go?
We will be in touch. As I was attempting to explain before, the pieces are still on the move. It may be some time before we are actually summoned. My only job is to get you there by the time it is important.
I really don't want to ride a boat anymore.
It would be the most expedient way.
Beat swimming.
Swimming. Yeah.
Well, what do you want to do, guys? Do we want to go get this stupid
I want to
box
go
for
back to
Thomas?
sleep.
Well, look, okay. Well, if we can go back to sleep, then we can wake up, have a meaningful discussion with our full faculties and some eggs.
Was that it? I thought you were going to go further. Okay.
No, just eggs.
Okay. All right. Look, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, like you said, we're not really doing anything for a purpose here. We're just helping some dude out for some money, and we made some good money. But we also lost a couple friends, and it's tricky down there, man. Shit doesn't work the way you want it to. At least out here, shit works the way you want it to. So my vote is we get on this boat and we get away from this place where people keep dying, and we go, I guess, to a new place where other people die.
Out of character, I'm getting more the opinion that it's when we get summoned and we haven't been summoned yet. So I kind of think that we stick here for a little bit longer, and then when Adam is ready to summon us, that's the... Adam, just tell me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of the interpretation I'm getting right
You
now.
can ask her. She's the one delivering the message. Who's Adam?
Adam is the servant that's in the air that just tucked us into bed last night. Mm-hmm.
Well, look, it's one vote, right? It's one vote stay and one vote, go. So, Gail, what do you want to do? You want to stay until we get summoned? Or do you want to just go ahead and go?
Let me ask. Sorry, I forgot your name. Something with misty shadows.
It's lingering essence. Oh, dang it! I was
Lingering
close.
essence.
Yeah, I knew some tabaxis with some names like that too.
So excuse me, friendly lady, who's going to make sure
With
that we
swords and
don't
daggers.
die? So, do we go now, or do we have to wait until you get your shit together, as Kikurtu would say, and then we are summoned somehow through some magical telecommunication?
I believe that your presence is not immediately required. If you wish to pursue this venture that you have come all this way for, I will assist you in whatever capacity you require me to.
There you have it. And plus, you have to remember this gold is useless outside of Alexander's scheme, and the sword that's in my bedroom over there, it's nothing if I leave it, so it has to be spend money on it to make it worth potency outside of dungeon. So we need maybe to consider that before we just leave.
You may also consider that the training and expertise and equipment you might find in the dungeon would help you in your next adventure. I do not believe that challenging the Dragon Queen and her minions is wise in your underwear.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen me fight in my underwear.
I hope I never have to.
I'm fine with staying. That's, look, 2 votes to stay, 1 vote to go. Plus, we get to see what kind of ass you kick. You look like you kick ass. You got all those weapons on you, and your name is like 6 names long. So I'm gonna go back to bed. Look, next time, if your message isn't super important, don't appear in the night. You know, like just, morning time. Hey, little bump in the shoulder in an alley. You know, that's a more effective way.
I work better under the cover of darkness.
Yeah, okay. What? One more time. Spectre of the Whispering Wind.
Just call me Spectre. No one is going to know what the other words mean.
Alright,
Could we just call you Spec? I mean, for short.
I would prefer you didn't, but my preferences are not that important in the grand scheme of things. If it makes you happy,
It would make you happy if you put your new name in Discord, so...
I do not. Well, so I think.
Sorry, Jordan. I just having some fun.
I think we should continue with adventure down here. Maybe get bucks. Maybe there might be a boon that's involved with it to get more money. And Miss Spectre seems pretty capable, although so far she tries to frighten me, but I'm not yet frightened. Maybe I will be later. But let's go to sleep, and then we see it with fresh eyes, as they say.
Have you made your decision then?
Yeah, amongst everything he just said there, yeah, I know we call it CSL, Common for Second Language. He's working on it. He's getting there. Basically, he said yes, I said no. Kurtu said yes. So we're going to stay here. We're going to find this little black box or maybe something else that can help us. And then when it's time to go, we'll go with you. Why not?
Very well. In that case...
We have no other contracts, and I haven't seen anything else on our calendar. But, you may want to go ahead and get yourself on the agenda, because we're well wanted and stuff, remember?
However, to join our group, you have to go through a rigorous trial. I need you to turn around to this table here and think of some food while you sit down. The type of food you order will just tell us a lot about you, Spectre. Go on. We're waiting.
I have my own initiation ritual that we will need to perform before you can retire, but fine, I will adhere to your request. So I will sit down at the table and
Hold on a second, let me do the spell. I'm the spellcaster here.
I ignore the kobold and I will think of it's a large plate of not raw meat, but one of those big fucking messy roasts, a lot of finger tearing, that kind of stuff. Clean off the bone, whatever. I will imagine that, assuming I know how this works. And
it doesn't take too long before you pull the chair out, sit down, and you realize again, get this sensation in your in your head, and you start thinking about this. As you do so, you notice the kobold waving his hands about and uttering magical components dramatically as your food suddenly appears on the table.
Does this satisfy you?
Yeah, it works for me. a big plate of meat.
Thank you.
So, look, I know you're not going to eat all of that, and it is.
I'm not going to eat any of it.
What? You gotta have some.
You suggested that I show you the sort of food I enjoy, and so I did. You said nothing of eating it.
Just take a bite. Come on.
But if you wish to partake, I will not object.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely eat some. But while I'm eating some, what is this that you needed us to do for you? You said something about initiation.
I must swear myself to your service. And
That's-
I'll look between Gale and Leroy, and I'll say, which one of you is in charge of this group?
Kurtu.
No, there's no way that the kobold's in charge of this group.
I've been around this group much longer than either of you have. I'm a senior group member.
That's what I was thinking. He's got seniority.
He's what you say he is the OB?
It's a G, man.
Oh,
OG.
OG. Okay,
Mm.
I thought that was like office.
It's all right. We're working on it. We're working on it. That was good. It stands for Original Gangster.
Right.
Okay,
I'm the
yes.
original gangster.
It's from the original gang. I think Kurtu is said leader, especially once we get him a
share,
nice
but yeah,
cloak.
we share, but as you can tell, I do all the tie breaking. Yes.
Her eye twitches a little bit. Maybe anyone with enough passive perception can notice this. I don't know. I don't want to set the DC.
I want to say everybody, just based on how well you've explained this. I think we're all picking up on it strongly.
But eventually she'll stand up from the table and she'll walk over to the kobold, and while standing in front of her, she draws the longsword out of her sheath, and then swings it around so she's holding it with her fingers, like presenting it to him, and offer him this sword. Take it.
We don't require suicide here. You can go ahead and keep your sword. It's
Take
okay.
the sword, or I will find someone who will.
Hey, Jordan, by the way, I did read your your description the other day.
Oh, the backstory?
Yeah, I read your backstory where it said even the kobold who's annoying. Okay, I take the sword.
What are you going to do? You take it or are you going to stare at it? Thank you.
I don't know what to do with it.
Alright, so now that he's holding the sword, I will turn around and... I don't know how tall is Kurtu?
I want to say just below 4 feet or something like that.
It gets bigger every time someone asks him.
Yeah, he was just a little bit smaller than your last character. I'm trying to look it up, but yeah. But he said he was taller even though he wasn't. But yeah.
If it's practical, if he's tall enough, so I'll turn around.
Oh,
and
he's 2 feet 10 inches.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's
You're
not
tiny.
practical. So I'm gonna look around. I'm gonna think about. She's gonna think about this for a second, and then she's gonna look around and find a stool or one of those that little end table by the bed thing or whatever it is.
Sure, yeah,
And
there's little stools too.
Have him hop up on that, and then she's gonna turn around in front of him and get down on her knees and say, "Hold the blade to my throat."
Okay, I do that. Please don't die.
I, Spectre of the Whispering Wind, hereby swear myself to your service until such time as our contract is complete. Your enemies are my enemies, and your deaths are my disgrace. Upon my honor and my life, I will see your goals achieved or die trying. This do I swear to you all. Now cast your judgment, and see me rise in your names or fall at your feet.
Small revision. All of your fish have to be his fish. It's kind of his rule.
Whatever.
I would just say that I've never had the opportunity to have such a wonderful servant before, so I accept your pledge.
Then you may remove the blade, and I would prefer it if you gave it back to me. I am most effective with that one.
Hey, the kobold of Dragorn's name, Kurtu, here, give it back your weapon. Mm-hmm.
I stand up and turn to you all and say, "Oh, one more thing. If you are going to the Bottomless Dungeon, You know by now it is fraught with danger. I would like a promise from you that if I fall in this endeavor, you will honor your word and return to the Sword Coast with or without me when your business is done. Do we have an accord?
I go to the leader of this band, who will use those words a million times from here on out. Agree to go ahead and help your group win, and if you die.
Very well. We will hold you to that. And I will hold out my hand to the kobold, looking a little resentful, but doing it anyway.
I imagine this is sort of in like a handshake gesture.
Yeah.
I will shake your hand.
And you will notice, well, 12 passive percent. Yeah, that's enough. You'll notice that as you grab her hand, her grip is a lot firmer than you would think. She looks pretty lithe, but she is stronger than she looks, and also it feels suspiciously hot, like higher than what a normal body temperature would be.
I think you're coming down with a cold. I think you should get a good night's sleep before we go and fight tomorrow.
I will be in touch. You will be in the lobby, yes?
You can stay here. There's plenty of rooms.
That's okay.
Oh, Miss Spectre, I reach out my hand. Very nice to meet you. I am honored by your commitment to our group, and we will make sure that we all get out alive.
I shake his hand and he will notice the same thing.
And I will say nothing of it and act like everything's cool.
All right, guys. So is it safe to say that Spectre climbs the ladder, exiting out of this room of relaxation, and the rest of the group retires to their beds?
The part's unknown. My assumption is that because she's like used to being nocturnal, that she's already like gotten a long rest recently. So she stays up at night, but we'll probably have to adjust her sleep schedule after joining the group.
Yeah, that works. All right, guys. Well, then, yes, as you return to your beds and get the rest of your sleep in, you do indeed qualify for your long rest. So we'll go ahead and apply that. And this is when your level 7 abilities would come online, of course. I know all of you guys have had an opportunity to do that, I believe. And if anybody hasn't, feel free to do that now. But yeah, you guys wake up early the next morning, and I'm assuming after grabbing some breakfast, you're going to head up to the lobby to try to discover if Spectre is there waiting for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
sounds good.
All right, so after you guys enjoy a pretty quick breakfast here, perhaps raw eggs or cooked eggs, depending on your preference, anything else you can think of, oatmeal or any, bagels and anything along those lines that you can imagine, the table seems to be able to provide, as long as with water, juice, all the typical stuff you would think of pretty obvious for breakfast. After enjoying that, getting yourself clothed once again, you notice even as you're kind of like looking at your clothes and then realizing that you're a little bit dirty perhaps from your exploits, sweating, all of that, those areas next to the beds that are conspicuously empty but they're fairly large, you'll notice copper tubs just kind of pop into existence all of a sudden. You can see like steaming hot water in there, so anybody that wishes could do a quick rinse up. It even has like scrub brushes and pretty much everything you would need for a nice relaxing bath. As you exit the beds, you notice they quickly remake themselves. Even any kind of grime or dirt from your body that would be on the sheets, you just see them kind of like shake momentarily and it just flutters off and everything looks completely clean and pristine once again. So as you guys enjoy this relaxation and eventually climb out of the room of relaxation and find yourself in the lobby, the last person to climb up will notice that as you're climbing the ladder, it gets shorter, like as though every step you take, you're always on the bottom. To when your companions climb out and then you're the last person to get to the top, you notice that the hole just kind of closes itself and it's sealed, and you would never realize that there was ever an opening there before. And you find yourself back into the lobby of the Bottomless Dungeon.
So 5 points for obviously Spectre. That was great. Well-deserved inspiration. And also the best character introduction episode I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully it's not something crazy where the dice are really against her now and she dies right away. So
It could happen. I would not put it past us.
anything is possible, guys.
Yeah,
But,
Jordan, that was good. That was fun.
Yes, well done. But I think based on timing, this is probably a good time to go ahead and take our 15-minute break, guys. And then when we pick up back on the other side, we can get into any potential provisions you'd like to pick up here from Alexander, and then find your way back into the Bottomless Dungeon. So good first half, guys, and we'll see everybody in 15.
Yep.
Welcome everybody back to the second half of our session here, and the group is currently in the lobby of the Bottomless Dungeon as they have just finished their relaxing night in the room of relaxation. So group, as you're here in the lobby, what would you like to do?
I just want to say, Adam, I did, because I forgot to give it to Spectre, but I just went ahead and attuned to that skull bracelet for now, just in case we might need it in a forthcoming day.
Okay, yep, fair enough, that works.
So, we just
Are you
go back
recording
in?
it? Are you recording, Adam, already? Sorry.
Yep, yeah, we are running.
Oh, sorry. Is the Sword of Gloom magical, considered magical?
It is, yes. The text should say that. If it doesn't, it is intended to be a magic weapon. It doesn't have a modifier, but it does strike as a magic weapon.
Yeah, I don't think it was in the text, so it made me ask. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so you notice there it says you can use a bonus action to speak this magic swords, so that tells you it's a magic sword.
Oh, roger.
I will say, when you guys see Leroy the next day, he looks like he looks like he's lost a little bit of weight, like it just kind of sheared right off of him, and he kind of has like a gaunt and hollow look to his face now, but he doesn't really seem to notice.
And neither does Gale, because he's just staring at the other side of the room. All right, so what are we doing?
Boy, did you get a good night's sleep or not? You just don't look, as yourself. I'll just say that. You don't look good.
I feel good. I told you, I had a dream. I was sitting in this white room. I was talking to this old man. We made a lot of conversation. What did you dream about?
I'm sure it was food. I don't remember. I don't usually remember my dreams, but they're probably good.
After I went to bed after meeting our strange new lady friend, I was occupied with thoughts of Bryn and her life, and thoughts of Josephine and her life, and how much she fought at like 1 hit point. Do you remember how much she just stayed in there and just never quit? It was astounding. Life is fragile. We should be very careful what we do today.
See? Look, I was thinking the same thing, and then I think that's where my dream led me, because me and the old man, we were talking back and forth. His name was Koss. He was nice, but he told me he could teach me a method to stop people from dying. I just gotta get to him in time, of course, but yeah.
Well,
I think it'll work.
well, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
No, tomorrow is guaranteed. We're just not guaranteed to be part of it. I mean, there's a difference,
Or are you trying to be funny?
Yeah, I'm trying really hard. A lot of effort.
Okay, leader, where do we do next?
Well, let's go downstairs or we are upstairs, that's right. Alexander, have you seen our friend?
I'm right here.
I didn't know.
God, you gotta stop sitting in corners, Spectre. Jesus.
It gives me perfect vantage point for the whole room.
Yeah. God, at least wear a perfume or something. Jeez.
That would give my position away.
That's what he said.
So actually, on this note of survival, I was also occupied with thoughts of that maybe we should be more aware of each of our specific abilities if we were ever to be in combat again. For example, as you may know, I am just someone who likes to fight and swing sword lots of times. Very capable of Nova damage when needed, but no magic, none except for this Misty Step one. With the Leroy, you have something that protected me last time. It was like you called it the channel or something.
Yeah, I got a lot of things, man. Kind of depends on what I want to do that day. Some days, like if we weren't in a dungeon, for example, I could introduce you to my horse. His name is Eric's. He's a pretty cool guy. Like I said, I met this guy in my dreams. He taught me a couple new powers. It was pretty cool. But then, my other powers is I can, protect you guys. But also, if I hit somebody, I can do something called a smite. I essentially just blast the crap out of them with a little bit of extra oomph. But yeah, my job is to run into the middle of things and absorb all of you guys' hits. And hopefully you guys are smart enough to pick them off, yeah?
That is very useful. And Kurtu, I think your job is to throw fire.
I like fire. But I also don't forget, I'm not a one-trick kobold. I can do some other things. I mean, sometimes I can help people turn invisible. I can do that to one or two people sometimes. I'm good at flying. I can help other people fly. That's great. And I think I perfected my spell last night. It takes a lot of my energy, but I think potentially I can turn people into frogs and things. And I don't know if they would taste delicious, but I'm thinking that I can do it.
That is very useful. Miss Spectre, if we get into battle, how may I not step on your toes?
Watch where you're going.
Okay, that's very helpful.
Unless we're in darkness, in which case you won't be able to see me. But I will stay out of your way.
Okay, that's good. If we live through the day.
Oh, come on. Kel. You try to trip everything we fight. Eventually, one of these days, you're going to trip something that's going to work out well for us.
And the best thing is just don't get hit.
Okay.
You ready? Is everybody ready? You got your stuff? Does anybody need to buy anything? I got a healing potion. Then we got a couple more floating around. Am I good? We're good? You good?
Did you wish to ask me of my capabilities?
That was my intent, but you said you would stay out of the way.
I thought you said that you can disappear in the darkness. I thought that was just part
That's
of
one
the...
of them. Yes.
Oh, well, if you got more, let's go. Let's get it out there so we know.
I stab people.
Okay.
And also, I do have some limited access to magic, though I'm used to working alone, so most of it will not help any of you. I have something that can help me stab things harder, and I can talk to animals if I need to, and I can help us be stealthier than normal as well, if necessary.
That's cool. See? There we go.
I feel like we've grown as a party.
Yes, I agree. I hope that whatever is through this door... It is. I just want to ride my horse again. Now that you asked me about it, now I miss him.
Well, get used to disappointments, because tomorrow might not come.
Jeez, dude.
He's not incorrect.
Have an ale or something.
Yeah, how do we switch your mode? You gotta... Can we
What are you
crank it to...
about?
Look, sometimes you're like, woohoo! And then sometimes you're like, and then today you're in more of your mood. Can we flip you over to the woohoo mood?
Oh, I see. You are unfamiliar with our people, so you see, the thing about my people, we don't wear two faces. We only have one face. Our people don't hide when we are thinking something but feeling something else. I am who I am, and it should be considered quite an advantage for my friends. Maybe I am feeling a bit down, but I don't try to hide it.
All right, man. Well, look, I don't know why you're feeling down. We're gonna make some money. We're gonna see how much ass Spectre kicks. Hopefully, she would have came in handy in that last place that was all darkness. But on to new things.
Well, I'm feeling down because of Josephine.
Oh,
Reminds me of my sister, never quitting.
well, look, man.
You are not upset about Josephine being smashed with a giant tail.
Yeah, I mean, I am. But I also lost my whole family. I lost everybody. I lost my brothers, my mom, granddad, pops. They all died. So, what I learned from that is people can either die with no purpose, not doing anything, fulfilling nothing, or people can fight for something. And I think we can all agree. Josephine fought very hard for everything she believed in. She just wasn't quick enough to evade a giant dinosaur tail, and that happens.
That's true, but I am still down.
You can be down, but
Okay.
but don't make dumb decisions because you feel sad. That's even dumber.
Well, that's why we rely on the kobold to make good decisions.
I understand.
Now do you see why I said he's a good leader? Anybody that eats raw fish like that, man, you gotta follow that dude to the end of the earth.
He would even eat raw fish from a gas station. That's how good he is.
Tell you what, to try to lift your spirits up, Kale, I'm going to go ahead and say that you're the employee of the day. There you go.
Oh wow, he never even gave that to Finn. Wow.
I know.
See, Gail? So you should switch your mood over to I don't know, fiery and passionate, and let's go kick some ass.
Thank you, leader. Let's go kick some ass.
All right, Alexander, I think we're good, man. You know what's behind this door? Have you seen it today? Is it windy desert? What is it? What's behind the door, you know?
You see he turns and looks towards you and takes an inhale of breath. Well, it changes every time one goes in, but now that you've survived once, if you wish, I can sell you a divining rod. It is one use only, but it may give you a clue as to what you will find on the other side.
How much, man? You're good at this, dude. You come through right when we need a good old weapon or magic item. What's this thing do?
And if we don't like what we see on the other side, can we switch? Close the door and reopen it?
It will not switch for you, but if you wait enough time, perhaps the different layer would be on the surface. But as far as your previous question, the divining rod, you point it at the door and you will get a sense of what is on the other side. It is not an exact science where it tells you specifics, but you will get perhaps sensation, sense, tactile, different ways of understanding what may lie on the other side. It will cost you 1,250 gold for a one-use rod.
Nope, don't need it. Let's go, Clue.
Yeah, I think no matter what we get, we're not gonna like it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And look, your sheets gave me a weird sensation last night. Just hearing you say that word, I'm not feeling it, Alexander. Let's go through the door.
And you notice he just stretches a hand out towards the door, welcoming you to head that way. You notice Winky pops up on his shoulder and looks and like mimics it too, and holds his hand out too with this mischievous look on his face.
Winky, we got a player. Do you want to come with us?
And you notice he sort of gives you this toothy grin and shakes his head back and forth. No.
Should I have the sword of gloom out? I can.
I'm just asking. I don't think I've seen it yet.
No, it's in my pocket.
It's in your pocket? How are you fitting it in there?
Sorry, it's a communist second language. It's in my sheath.
Have you guys, I know this is out of character for a second, but have you seen that commercial where it's like those thieves and his tights get stuck on the the little caravan, and then he goes. They go and get pockets from ordering from this place, and it's like they're pockets, you ninnies. That's what it made me think of.
I have not seen that. It sounds funny though.
I meant sheath. It's here. Pockets, I understand, is something else.
All right, guys. So it sounds like you're ready to head back into the bottomless dungeon, and everybody will do the same as before. Open the door, move into the room, and close it behind you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, as you guys do so and the door closes, those of you that have been here before, you feel this familiar sensation as though things are twisting and stretching out, as though you're being folded and moved through time and space in this very strange feeling. I would like all of you to roll me a 1d4, please.
Publicly or?
Publicly, yes. Okay, I will need Leroy and Kurtu to re-roll 1d4 again, I guess.
Yeah, I'm rolling high today.
Try it again, Bill.
No, you guys are good. I can work with that.
8 hours from now.
Okay, so as you feel this twisting and switching around and everything feels very, very odd, you can feel as though, much like you did in the last area you're in this bottomless dungeon layer of gloom where everything was dark, you start to feel a sensation right away, but it is not dark this time. It is intense heat. Such swelteringly intense heat. You feel like you're out in maybe like a deep desert and the high sun. It's not actually sun. It is dark around you at first. Your dark vision kicks in here at this point as your vision starts to solidify. But this just immense heat is absolutely sweltering. You can feel it really starting to hit you almost immediately. Not so hot that it damages you, but you can feel yourself starting to sweat almost immediately as you find yourself in this strange locale. Based on your rolls, I'm going to pull everybody over to the other map, and we're going to move right into an event round. All right, so as we suddenly all appear where we are, you'll notice immediately as your eyes begin to focus that your companions are not with you. You are alone. Top of the round, Spectre, you are not alone, however. You find yourself in this small room that looks to be about 10 feet by 10 feet. The floor here looks to be made of some kind of red marble, but you can only see patches of it, and it is just absolutely cluttered and littered with scrap pieces of metal. As you suddenly find yourself standing here, even your feet are stuck between these areas of metal. Everywhere around you, you can see odd angles of the metal being bent. It is jagged in places. You can see things that look like broken nails or screws, just all types of this different strange scrap metal. On a quick glance, you find yourself here and you notice a creature lying close by your feet. As you look down upon it, it is fairly decent size, perhaps the size of a large dog, but it looks like it has an insectile face, and you notice these two antennae stretching out from its side. It has its two eyes currently closed, and it is lying down and gives you the impression that it is perhaps sleeping at the moment, as you can see its body slowly sagging and then inhaling breath and then sagging and so forth. So at the start of your turn, Spectre, what would you like to do?
If this thing is sleeping, does it look like there's places I can step where I won't, like, disturb the scraps and such? Or
on a quick glance, no. It looks like it's going to be quite challenging, maybe possible, but it looks like it's going to be quite challenging to avoid all of this or even find piles of it that are maybe more stable than other piles. It's going to be a risk for sure.
How big did you say this thing was? Like a little dog?
A large dog. So think
Large
about like the
dog.
size of like Saint Bernard, perhaps.
And we're in initiative, right? I have like 6 seconds to look around.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Well, we're not getting anywhere, so I'm gonna interact with objects, stow my weapons, and would it be an action to try to stealth to this door? What's the side of the rooms look like?
The walls here are made of some type of black rock, perhaps obsidian, and you can see that there is a door there on the north wall. The floor, like I said, is covered with this debris. As far as moving stealthy, yes, unless you have cunning action that would allow you to do it as bonus action, it would be an action to take the hide action and try to move quietly.
I'm just gonna Metal Gear Solid this thing. I'm gonna start whacking at it while it's asleep, knowing
Okay.
that it will wake up. But so, if it's sleeping, it's incapacitated. Is that right?
Essentially, feel free to attack it as you wish, and we'll adjust from there.
Okay. So I'm just going to use some unarmed strikes here. Actually, no, I said I already stowed my weapons, so I'm gonna have to do the unarmed strikes.
Sure, so go ahead and make your first attack.
So I don't... Oh, no, there it is. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. So this should be at advantage, I would think, unless it has some way of detecting me otherwise.
Yep, it would be at advantage. So you
And
punch outward.
I'm gonna change... Yeah, this is... Because I'm unarmed, this is a monk thing. I don't know why it's not using Dex.
It looks like it used Dex.
Oh, never mind. I thought the plus... I didn't understand what the +0 was.
That is your super secret modifier that you can ignore for now.
Okay. Understood.
So as you punch out, you do indeed strike it. Because it was sleeping, that counts as a crit. So go ahead and roll a bludgeoning crit.
Where'd it go? Critical hit. There we go.
All right, so that is a true crit. Go ahead and click your damage, and we'll take both of those. So go ahead and roll me one more d4. Because I forgot it's not an actual crit on the sheet, so it didn't roll it automatically. All right, so as you punch out, striking this creature, you wound it. And this causes it to, of course, wake up, and you see its eyes suddenly blink open and its antennas start to move. Still your turn.
Yep, second attack.
Yes, that will also hit. And you strike it once again.
Another 6. And because it is my first round in combat, Dread Ambusher should allow me to hit a third time.
Yes.
So here we go.
That will hit as well.
And it adds an extra... Oh, I should know this, but it was 2 weeks ago when I rolled this character. I believe... Is it an extra dice or an extra D8? I don't remember.
I think it's an extra D8 if I remember correctly.
Let me just look it up real quick so we're not... It's in here somewhere. There it is. As part of... If that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d8 of the weapon's type. So another 1d8. Another 6.
Alright, you smash into the creature, wounding it badly.
And then I will use my unarmed... Or my monk combat for bonus action, one more unarmed strike on it. Unarmed strike, where did you go?
Alright, this one connects as well.
Okay. For another 7.
Okay, and with this final strike, you hit the creature again, and you see it collapses dead.
Perfect. So, not seeing any other immediate threats, I'm going to move to the door, and I believe my token is locked?
There you go.
Or I'm lagging super hard?
No, you're right, you're locked.
Okay. So I've used my action, bonus action, so I can't, and my interact with object to stow my weapons, so I cannot open this, but I will do so on my next turn.
Okay, if that is the end of your turn, go ahead and pass your turn. We move to Leroy. So, Leroy, you find yourself in this room that is currently covered in the floor of all this types of scrap metal. Nowhere on the floor seems to be clear.
Does it look like I can move?
You can. You're just picking your feet up and pushing it through basically a bunch of scrap.
Okay. Can I? Is it like up to above my head level, or like just around my ankles?
It's probably more like high calf area, as far as the height of the pile of scrap.
Okay, so I can see what's right here.
You can, yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna make my way towards that because I don't see anybody. And can I put my ear to this and listen to the other side?
You can. If you'd like to do that actively, meaning use your action to do so, then give me a blind check.
No, Leroy wouldn't do that. He would probably just keep moving.
Okay.
Let's just go ahead and open it.
All right, you open the door and see a very narrow hallway in front of you.
Okay. Well, I will at least draw my sword from its sheath. 5, 10. Was that difficult terrain at all, Adam?
No, it certainly makes a lot of noise, and you can see the scrap kind of rattles out and hits the ground and bounces and all that, but doesn't hamper your movement.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk over here, and I guess that was interact with object, action, and yeah, interact object to open the door, action to draw my sword. I'm just gonna wait. I guess I'll wait in front of my door here, Adam.
Okay, we move to Gale's turn. Similarly, Gale, you find this room completely covered with scrap. You notice that it is the west side of the room that is completely covered with scrap. You get the impression almost as though it's been pushed against this west wall, so it's a bit higher level. So think of this as being more 3 feet high of scrap, and you suddenly find yourself appearing here with your feet kind of buried a little bit in the scrap, and the east side of the room is a little bit more clear.
I will draw my sword and say whacking.
All right, and as you do so, using a bonus action to cause the light to suddenly emit from the gloom blade, you notice it's this very pale, dim light that suddenly stretches forth.
Okay. Then, so it takes a action to draw it and say the word, and then bonus action.
So it'd be an interact with object to draw it, and then it would be a bonus action to use the command word.
Oh, okay. I thought it said action. I got to reread that. Okay.
If it did, that'd be surprising. Let me double check real quick, though. You can use a bonus action to speak this magic sword's command word. Yeah, so just a bonus action.
See, mine's all in black. I have to highlight it. Oh, okay. Oh, bonus action. Yep. Bonus action. Boy, I am just dumb today, guys. Okay.
It's all new stuff. No worries. Yes, there is music. So, if you can, anybody else not hear the music? I can turn it up a little bit if that's the case.
Yeah, I can't hear any music on my side.
Okay, well, speaking of, I'm going to move here. And I'm going to whisper through this door. Hey, is anyone over there? I'm alone. North door.
You do not hear any immediate response.
I'm going to do the same through here. Hello? I am alone. Is anyone on this other side of door?
Leroy, I would say you certainly hear this coming from your west. So just quick FYI, if you guys cannot hear the music, maybe try a refresh if it's not working for you. And let me know once you're refreshed in. I'll restart it. Sometimes you have to do that as well for it to kick back on.
Through the door, I'll say, yes, Gale, it is I.
Then I'm at Adam. I'm going to let you know I'm going to open this door.
Okay, so far you've interacted with object, bonus dice. You still have your actions. You'd like to use your action to open the door.
Yes.
All right, yep, go ahead and click the door. And the door opens.
Oh, Leroy, where is everybody?
I don't know. I'm guessing behind all the doors.
Well, I will stay here until someone else takes action. because I have no more action.
Would I be able to hear them with my passive perception, or
I would
no?
say you can certainly hear parts of that, yes.
I say nothing.
Okay, we move to Kurtu's turn, and hopefully everybody can hear the music. If you can't, I don't know what else, because it's running, I hear it, and it's working.
I'll just listen to it on the VOD, it's fine. I'll imagine the music, and then see if it matches.
Very strange. Yeah, I'm not sure why that why that's not working for
I
you.
hear it just so.
Okay, good. All right. Well, at least some of you guys got it. If it's not working on your side, I'm not even sure what else to try because so we'll just have to play it without music, unfortunately. So Kurtu, your turn.
Any chance I heard anything beyond the door by passive?
With your passive, I would say no.
All
But
right.
similarly, you notice this room, Kurtu, is quite clear or quite full of scrap metal. And being that you're on the smaller side, this would probably be more like chest level for you. So you're probably going to have to push through or maybe even swim through some of this to get to the door if that's your intent.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to go ahead and, Adam, I'm going to use Mage Hand at the door.
Okay, it will work. This door is not particularly heavy, so feel free to open it. Alright, so you cast the Mage Hand spell as your action, and the door is opened.
And I'm going to, I'm not going to yell at Adam, but in a normal tone, I'll just say,
Hello? Anybody there?
And
I'm
for
gonna
you,
peek.
it will be difficult terrain, Kurtu, as you make your way through.
Okay.
It's the evil specter.
Oh, that's Leroy being silly again. He always does that. Okay. Well, hello, guys. This room here wasn't nearly as fresh as the other one was. I got a lot of trash in my room. What's going on?
I don't know. I think we all just went to different rooms. One of these doors has Spectre behind it, I guess.
Oh. So, maybe we should just yell, Spectre, where are you? What do you think?
Top of the next round, Spectre, where are you?
I open the door.
Yep, feel free.
I
It
did
does
not
open.
acknowledge the kobold.
All right, as the door opens, you notice a very narrow hallway right out front of you.
And then, can I peek around the corner here real quick? Oh, there's my friends.
You can. So, just as a quick reminder for everybody, so all of you currently rely on dark vision and nobody has any bright light. So you don't see Spectre during these conditions. So we'll have to play this a little bit by ear, and I'm just going to be a rough approximation where bright light is versus not bright light. But I'll say for right now, you see the door opens, and then you don't see anything exit.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought. Never mind. Well, whatever.
What? Who opened the door?
It's me. And then I'll go back into the room, and how this thing is the size of a large dog. Can I try to like drag it out into the hallway?
You can. You know this is going to make quite a bit of noise through the scraps, so as long as you're okay with that, then sure.
No, never mind. I'll just pop to the side and say, "Check these out. We're not alone in here." I'll move down here.
Well, you just killed that by yourself?
And if there's
It wasn't
nothing,
that hard.
if there's nothing immediate you guys are doing that requires turn order, we can go ahead and exit out of turn order now that you've all discovered each other.
Sounds
Yep.
good to me.
All right, fair enough. Let's do that. So yes, feel free to act on your own initiative at this point. As yes, you notice a Spectre sort of wading through all this scrap metal, and yeah, you can see this large creature lying before her feet, laying here haphazardly because of all the scrap.
I don't want to walk in there because I might cut my foot, but that is quite an amazing feat. You just destroyed the. Hey, Leroy, look at what our new friend can do.
Anybody recognize this thing?
I'm just impressed that our new friend Spectre can cast invisibility. Good job.
Adam, have I ever seen this creature before?
Give me a blind check.
Leroy's not the smartest. He doesn't really keep track of those things, but maybe he knows.
It does not look familiar to you, Leroy.
That there is a flea of the giant variety.
Adam, can I make a blind check as well?
So you would wish to examine the creature and see if you recognize it?
Yes.
You can, yeah. Give me a blind check. Not at all. You do not recognize this. It looks like some kind of large bug.
Made me look delicious. Yuck.
Looking around, does this look like a... I found it sleeping. Does this look like a nest? Like, what... Is there, like... Is the scrap, like, arranged in a way that makes it look like bedding, or...
Give me a blind check as you look around here, Spectre, seeing if you can gather those type of details or get any kind of insight into what this purpose of this room is. No, you don't think of this as being a nest, and as you kind of move the scrap around a little bit, trying to see what you can make out, you do notice that where this creature was before you pummeled it to death, there is a small pile of rust that seems to be on the ground nearby its face.
Oh, do you think it eats the scrap metal? Is it a scrap metal eating bug? Cut open its gut and see what's in its gut.
Look, why do we care?
I don't know, you both decided to look at it. You seem very interested.
She asked.
It's always best to know your enemy.
It sounds like you like punched it twice or something and it died. It doesn't
I
sound like
punched
much
it
of an
4
enemy.
times.
4 times. It doesn't sound like much of an enemy to me. Did it bite you?
It didn't get the chance.
See? So we just gotta be faster than the fleas. We're good.
Then lead on.
Okay. Gale, do you want to lead?
Yes, this door in front of me seems the most significant.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna open this door.
All right, go ahead and open the door. Okay,
Ah!
Gil, as you open this door, you notice a lot of things pretty quickly here. So right off the bat, you notice standing in front of you are these 3 creatures, humanoid in a form, that look similar to dwarves, except where their hair is, you see it is wreathed in fire instead of just being hair. They stand circling sort of around this large pit of what you assume to be magma or lava, which gives you the impression of where the sweltering heat may be coming from. And you can see this channel of lava seems to stretch off from the north from this central area. This room already, you notice as well, is in tiers. So this is the ground floor, of course. And then you notice up here, there is a level that is about 10 feet higher than the ground floor. And then finally, there is a 3rd tier all the way up here. As you look here, again, very quickly, you're noticing all this just in a glance. You see 2, what almost look to be, I would call them ballistas, perhaps. They are very well designed, very artistic in design. They have wheels on their front, and it looks as though they are designed to be fired as like ballistas. And they are sitting up here in this area. You notice, as you look just very quickly, both of them kind of turn slightly without anybody controlling them. You notice this, and you also notice obviously the larger pits of fire are giving off bright light. So as you notice all of that, I'm going to go ahead and put us on initiative order. Okay, so at the top of the round here, Gale, from where you're standing, you notice up again about 20 feet higher than where you currently are, this thing on wheels actually moves over, and you can see it rolls to the side, spins, looks towards you, and as it does, this lance that is actually in its mouth fires off at an amazing speed right towards you, and I'll need you to make a defensive roll, please. Alright, this bolt flies out, striking into you as you try to evade it. and you're going to suffer 17 points of piercing damage from it. You notice another bolt seems to materialize in its mouth without requiring any kind of loading and fires out at you once again. Another defense roll. This time you notice as it fires out, there is actually a rope that is attached to the back of it. And as it flies out towards you, you duck down and you see it strikes the wall to your north, not connecting. This thing then wheels itself back to where it was. And we move to Kurtu's turn.
So there are people in here, the little dwarves with hairs on fire and the little ballista shooting arrows.
Ask them if they've seen our box.
It's not my turn.
Hey, Adam, I got a question in regards to one of my sorcery abilities here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got elemental affinity. It does not say it takes any... It doesn't say if it takes a bonus action or an action or anything like that for me to use this.
So it says when you cast a spell, and then it says at that same time. So it just applies when you cast a spell. You can choose to spend the 1 point to gain the resistance.
Okay, so, but it doesn't have to be a fire spell or anything. I just want to... I don't read that into that, but I just want to ask.
So it says when you cast a spell that deals damage of the type associated with your draconic ancestry. So for you, that's fire, right?
Yeah, okay. At the same time, I can... Okay, all right.
So essentially, it's like you throw fire out and then pull a little bit of that fire back, and it provides resistance to you for the hour.
Okay, alrighty. Yeah, okay, I see that. I am going to go ahead, and I know I have a disadvantage on these shots, but I'm going to go ahead and cast Firebolt at this guy.
Okay. So you won't have disadvantage, but he will gain cover as you're shooting through two of your allies here.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So, alright, I'm just going to go ahead and do that.
Oof, this will be a fumble to start.
Remember, I was rolling really well last time. Yeah, I did before, a while ago.
Yeah, so feel free to go ahead and roll that spell fumble. Okay, so as you cast this in your area, so around you, suddenly there is this obscuring mist as your spell fails spectacularly, and all around you now it becomes heavily obscured.
No, that was a spell I cast. It was called Fog Cloud, Adam, just to let you know.
Minor fog cloud?
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use that sorcery point on myself, as mentioned earlier, so I can have resistant to fire.
Okay, yep, burn that one sorcery point then.
And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move up. I'm going to say,
I'm in the room to the north.
All right, Gale, as you look forward, you notice this fiery dwarf picks up this chunk of metal on the ground, puts it more towards the lava, and you see he's got a hammer as he's smacking upon it. Your turn, Gale.
Does it look like they noticed me, or is he just working?
If he has noticed you, he hasn't taken any action. This guy, certainly I would say you get the impression that he's working.
Okay, that's odd. But you cast a spell, but it didn't work. Okay. And so the dwarves look like they're just working in the forge.
I think that's a fair guess that Gale would make based on what he's seen so far, yes?
Just don't forget about the ballista that shot at your head.
Yeah, these,
So I assume that means you close the door?
Yeah.
All right, you pull the door closed behind you, and it seals shut.
So guys, the dwarves inside, they were just working on the forge, and this the natural defense, this automatic machine defense shot a spear at me. But why we run in there? So close the door. I'll wait for a response.
we have nowhere else to go. We literally have to go through
No,
there.
there's a door. My room has an extra door to the north.
You didn't say that.
Well, that's well, I say it now. Let's go. I'll wait here. You guys go ahead.
You know where the door is. You lead the way.
Okay, so they go 5.
Don't forget your kobold friend. Where'd you guys go?
We're going north through this area here.
Okay,
5, 10.
I created a smoke cloud to hide me, so, you know.
Okay.
So you've interacted with object already to open a door, so you won't
Yeah.
have that.
So I will. I don't like the tight corridor we're in. I'm going to use my action to open the door.
Okay, use your action to open the door. You put your hand towards the door, try to open it. Go ahead and click it. Door
Yeah,
is
I did.
locked.
This door is locked now. So it's 5, 10, 15, 20. 25. I will use my action to open the door. I will stand in this doorway to take hit if they open it, but they might not. Maybe there's another door. So that will be what I'll do. I'll end my turn.
Okay, so you moved up, tried to open this locked door, and then took your position back where you were. You can hear the sound of gears and metal from the other room and a quick spin up. And we move to Leroy's turn.
I'm gonna look at Gale and say, okay, so the door is locked. Then we gotta go through this way. Maybe we just run through really quick.
I can try to pick the lock.
Oh, see, now that is important idea.
Okay, well, Adam, I'll just put my shield up towards the door where Gale is in front of, this one here, and I'll take the dodge action while Spectre goes and does her thing.
Okay.
So if I can, I will squeeze around here. They're not like engaged or anything. I can just move normally.
It's a little bit awkward for you. Mechanically, no impact, but they can't see you, so you kind of have to either alert them or something as you're moving through.
And I'm gonna point, if you're coming, it's this door here. With
This one?
So that's 10 feet of movement so far, and you're also in this obscuring mist
Yeah, I
from
can't
this
see him
really
point.
magical cloud so far.
Well, you kind of have to get out of the way, so I'll move 10 feet back. You kind of have to get out of the way so I can get down there and try to open the door. It's going to take me some time.
No, you can move through us, right? We're not
Yeah, but
engaged.
But it's going to take my action to end and stuff, so I feel like mechanically I would have to like kneel down, get my equipment out because I don't have it in my hands, right? So it's going to take me like a turn or two to get ready. So I'll interact with the object, pull out my thieves' tools,
Okay.
but 10, 20. Do you think it would? Is this like a lock that I could pick in 6 seconds, or?
Well, you haven't even seen the lock yet, so you have no
Yeah.
idea.
So I will move. I will share this space briefly. So that's 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this door open?
The door to your west is not open, no.
The door to my north.
The door to your north is open, yes.
Then I will go in.
Okay.
Oh, so it's this door he's referring to.
Yeah, in this very closed quarters, that probably dawns on you now, Spectre. This probably is what Gale's referring to, as you see a
All
door
right.
to your northeast.
Took me a second, but. And I'm gonna hold off on doing it this turn because I am now out of movement. So I would like to be able to react if I need to. So
Sure.
we're gonna pass this turn and then we're gonna do it next time.
Yep, and like I say, just as a reminder, you guys are pushing through scrap as you're moving through these rooms. The room Spectre's in right now is less scrap, and it seems to be mostly collected on the west side of the room. All right, you guys hear some more pounding sounds coming from the other side, not on the door itself, clearly, but on the, you could say, nearby. So as there's no immediate threat here, we're going to go ahead and exit out of combat, guys. You're free to move on your own initiative.
Alright, get in here. There might be something on the other side. Can I, like, listen at the door, see if I hear anything, like pounding metal or more forging or anything that might be happening over there?
Based on your passive perception, it sounds fairly quiet.
I would like to, when the team piles in...
No, I think we'll wait out here, because what if it explodes and you two go down?
I would imagine
the brave heroes I've heard legends of.
Yeah, where you're standing, Leroy, you do notice that where Gale got struck by this lance, this object, you see it lying on the ground here. As I imagine it hit him hard and then just hit on the ground as it wasn't able to penetrate through his flesh and his armor. But you do notice what looks to be a very high quality forged metal bolt of some kind.
Did this hit you, Gale?
Yes, it shot 2 of those at me. One hit me in the arm, and I am clearly injured.
Well, it can't be that strong. Otherwise, they would have shot it through the door. So, are you really hurt that bad, or?
I don't know if I'll see tomorrow, but I'm fine.
Oh my gosh, dude! What a
Kind of a downer, isn't he?
It's like an adventure
Not
with
all
the goth kid from high school.
It's not like this all the time. I swear. We just gotta get him in a happier mood before he goes to bed. He had bad dreams for sure.
Yeah, Gale doesn't just believe that the milk is half empty. He also believes the cows are all dead too.
Right.
Or it's not even milk.
So I'll attempt to pick this lock with my thieves' tools. Is it a lock that looks pickable, or is it like a stone slab or something that we can't get open?
No, it has a handle. It has a locking mechanism. You think you can certainly try. You do notice that this time has passed. The fog that was created by the wonderful spell effect of Kurtu has dissipated at this point, thinned out. I will be tracking time in this location primarily because of the effects of significant heat, and we will be ballparking this as best our ability. So if you choose to do things very quickly, let me know. But so far, about 10 minutes has passed since you guys have been in here. All right, so you kneel down and wish to take a attempt to unlock this. Blind check, please, Spectre.
Using Dex, of course.
Dex, okay. Yes, you find that this lock is not particularly challenging, and you're able to open it fairly easily. So I will remove the locked value from this, and now it is clickable if you wish to open it.
I wish to open it.
Feel free to click and open, and you notice a 10-foot hallway that stretches out to another door.
I'll come up and listen at the door.
Okay.
Come on, Kurtu, it didn't blow up.
Give me
It
a
did
blind
not.
check here, Spectre, as you listen, see if you can hear anything on the other side.
Get out of the hallway.
You hear the sound of crackling flames.
Does it sound similar to the forge on the other side?
You weren't, no, I will say not in the quick bit you were there just momentarily. It doesn't sound exactly the same. It's hard to say.
There's a fire burning on the other side, I say quietly to Leroy here.
Where is our boss? Where is Kurtu? Get Kurtu. Oh,
He was
Right
behind.
here.
He was
You're on
behind.
my- Okay.
We shouldn't linger too long in this heat.
Let's try that door. Who knows? Let me
Yeah,
go.
I'll
I
go.
think so.
I got.
I could open it with my mage hand if that's what you'd like.
No, I'm just gonna click it. It's locked. Pretty anticlimactic. You gotta get this one too.
Alright, so Thieves' Tool still in hand. You step up trying to pick this one. Oh, no, it will not open.
It's stuck.
Bummer. Alright, so we gotta go fight some people.
Apparently.
No big deal.
But you guys just try to bash the door down on me. Why do you say, hey, it's locked, let's go ahead and kill people?
Well, I don't think we need to kill them. I think we just run past them really quick and see what they decide to do.
Why don't we just break their toys?
That might just.
Yeah. We can just outrun them. Gil, when you were standing at the doorway, did you get a look inside the room?
I got a look inside the room, but I was covered by what you call fog of war. I don't know what that means, but I was unable to see if there were any doors to the north or to the south.
All right. Well, fearless leader, we got two options. Option A, we try to chop down this door here. Option B, we blindly run into this room in front of us where we know people are trying to shoot us. What you got?
Let's try to break down the door first, and then we can take the combat action.
All right. Adam, I'm gonna walk up to the door.
I mean,
Does
I don't know
it,
which one of you guys are stronger, because, Spectre seems strong, too. I don't know.
He would be better suited for blunt force trauma.
Does the door seem... First of all, Adam, are like the hinges on our side, does it look like it comes to us, or does it look like it pushes inward?
It looks like it moves away from you.
Okay. And if I try to like rattle the door with the lock, does it sound like it's barred, or does it sound like it's just a lock?
As you do this, you get the impression that it is just a lock.
Okay, I think I might be able to break it down, like use my axe or something. Do we really want to do that? You really want me to just chop a door down?
Well,
It's a lot of noise.
what I would suggest is, the other way is you're wondering if we're going to have bolts be tossed our way. We don't know.
We might end up sandwiched between multiple groups of hostiles if we...
Well, I don't
run
think the
into the
ballistas are pursuing us, and the doors never reacted to me opening door. So I say go to the north.
So you guys want me to chop this door down?
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll draw my battle axe, Adam, and I'll try to line up a good shot by where like the door handle is, like just outside of it, and see if I can just chop in that area and then use my shoulder to break it from there.
So as you can probably imagine, in this area, the doors are not made of wood, they're stone doors. So as you take a look at this, you realize you can try, but you don't think you're going to be able to cut through the stone of this. You might be able to use force to break it down eventually, but you have a feeling it's going to take some time.
And probably make a lot of noise.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, let's just go kick some ass, guys. Come on.
All right, line up.
Hey, I just tell you that I believe that normally using fire stuff on fire creatures usually isn't that exciting. So,
Well, you did say you have other moves, so let's see them. And also, Gail, are you sure in your current state of depression you want to be up front?
Yes, because I know tomorrow may not come and Miles will die in glorious battle.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay, fearless leader, go for it.
I thought the kobold was the leader. Did you lie to me?
No, I didn't.
Depends on the scenario.
Are you guys ready? I'm about to open door. Where is our specter friend? Thank you.
You still can't see me, by the way.
Yeah, well, he must be somewhere around here. Hope he doesn't
I'm here.
Okay.
Maybe open the door and then kind of come back up, so that way it shoots a bolt in the empty space.
I think I vote for Spectre wearing perfume. Because that is getting
Okay,
annoying.
Adam, I'm going to open the door because I'm getting freaking hot down here.
Okay, go ahead and open the door. So much as before, as soon as you open the door, you notice these two creatures go into quick reaction, and we'll put us back in initiative order. And much like before, one of these creatures is the quickest to react as soon as the door is opened. Alright, Gale, so as you fling the door open, you notice almost instantly one of these bolts flies right towards you. Defense roll, please. You evade it as a second one also flies your way. This one you evade as well, perhaps prepared and ready to go. Back in the center of the room, you notice this creature looking down, putting his hand into the lava as he pulls out some metal and shakes off a bit of lava and then continues working on it as we move to Spectre's turn. Spectre, you can tell almost right away that there is a light source stretching into this hallway.
Are we dashing or are we killing?
I say we find open door. They might attack when we enter, but I don't know. It's our only option.
My token is locked again.
Yep, there you go.
So 5, 10, 15. Do the dwarves react to my presence when I run into the room?
They don't seem to.
I'll step here.
Okay.
20, 25. No reaction?
Nope.
Okay. 30, 35, 40, 45. How high is this thing?
An additional 10 feet. And remind me of your movement speed?
I have 40 movement speed, but on the first turn of combat, I get an additional 10 from Dread Ambusher.
Okay.
So I can't quite jump it, do you think? If it's 10 feet?
With the 5 feet of movement you have left, correct.
Yeah. So do you think I can move to this square and like brace myself against the wall so it would be hard for them to get a shot at me?
I mean, if you're willing to drop prone, I would give that to you.
No, I'm gonna spend a key point to do Step of the Wind to give myself a dash action for the bonus action.
All right, so I built that into your sheet as use key, so just go ahead and click that, and it should... Hopefully I got that set up for you, right? There we go, okay.
Works. So now I got 50 more feet. So... 5, 10, and since they told me that they want me to get the door open, I will 20. Can I get moved diagonally through here, or is this pillar going to be in the way?
I would say call it difficult terrain if you're trying to sloop around like that.
Okay, so 25, 30, and then can I just drop down, like grab the ledge and drop down?
It's only 10 feet down, so as long as you're not jumping, you could just slip off the edge pretty easily.
I'll slip off the edge, and then I'll use my action to try to get this door open.
All right, feel free to click it, see if it opens.
She moves very fast, Leroy.
And so it's 30 to get here, so I got 20 more. So I will go here and here and call it good.
All right, you notice as you step past this little channel of lava that it pops and hisses as you're close to it. You can see little bits spit out every now and again close to the edges of the channel.
Does it look like it might hit me if I stay here?
It's possible.
Lava's pretty hurty. But probably not as hurty as those bolts. I will stay here and expect my dexterity saving throws to work in my favor.
Fair enough. All right, you stay there. Okay, we move to Kurtu's turn.
She ran in there and went and don't bother the dwarves.
Adam, I'm having a hard time going through the door.
You just trying to go south?
Yep, there it goes. I don't know what happened. Adam, you may have already explained this, but I'm not sure what this is.
That is a set of stairs that moves from this current level up to the next tier. So this room is actually 3 tiers: ground floor, second floor, third floor. Each floor is 10 feet higher than the previous floor.
Okay, that'll be my movement there, and I am going to take the dodge action.
Okay, you dodge. And we move to Gale's turn.
Move there. 5. Do I feel like I could jump over this lava trough?
Meaning you want to actually try to just jump over the channel?
Well, what does it look like? Yeah, it doesn't look very big.
No, it's pretty narrow. I mean, altogether, you imagine it's maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide, something like that on quick glance.
Is it spitting lava?
There's small bits of heat and flame. I would say you see that it kind of hisses and sizzles, and small amounts kind of go to the edges of the channel.
10, 15, 20. Standing jump over it.
Okay, you can do so easily.
And that's 25.
Mm-hmm.
30. That wasn't so hard. Now for action, I will then take the dodge action.
Okay, you dodge. Next, we move to Leroy's turn.
All right, Leroy's going to come into the room. He only sees Kurtu. Is everybody hiding behind Kurtu?
I said he
points.
went. I said he went
points north.
I said he went to the. She went to the north.
All right. Well, I guess I'll make my way. So that's 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'll move to here. And I guess I'll also take the dodge action.
Okay. You'll notice this one is its little wheels spin up and it moves over. It aims down towards you, Leroy, and you see it suddenly shoots out this bolt from its mouth. Go ahead and give me a defensive roll at advantage since you're dodging. Okay, that will miss as you notice a second one materializes in its mouth and a second roll. This time, however, the bolt does manage to smash into you, dealing 9 points of piercing damage from the bolt. You'll then notice the creature wheels back to where it was. Alright, you notice these guys continue working, smashing at some metal near the center. More smashing of metal near the center. Move to the top of the round. And this one, as you are there on the stairs, Leroy, you're going to see it wheels over to here. So it's got a shooting angle at you, and I'll need 2 more defensive rolls, please. Both at advantage. Okay, so that first one will count as a fumble, so go ahead and roll me a ranged fumble, please. Okay, so the creature loses its combat traction there, and enemies have advantage on their first roll against you next round. So I'll put a little marker on this guy so we know that. And he will then wheel back to where he was. Alright, this guy's turn. You see him continue smashing, and you notice that this central area of lava seems to be kind of bubbling at this point. And we move to Spectre's turn.
Interact with the object to try to open the door.
Good luck with the door.
It opens.
It does indeed. You notice a hallway that stretches before you as the channel continues moving north through this room, and underneath a raised platform that has a set of stairs to reach it.
Okay, so I'll move. I just clicked the door again. I didn't mean to do that.
Fair enough.
That's going to happen quite a bit.
I'm sure it will, yeah.
So 5. So can I get under this?
If you wish to get, I mean, it's 10 feet high there, so I would say right at the edge, you'd probably just have to duck to get under it, but yes, technically you could.
Or could I just easily jump over here?
Unless your strength is super bad, yes, it's pretty easy to jump across the channel.
I actually have above average strength on this character for once.
Then you're totally no issues.
I will jump here. So 10, 15. Is the rest of the channel bubbling like the cauldron in there?
Not to that same degree, no.
Okay. I'm gonna use my movement to come here, just get a look down this hallway. So that's 20, 2 more doors, 25, 30, 35, 40. I'm gonna back up into this corner. Does it look like there's enough light coming from the lava to expose me?
If you're right next to the channel, yes. The light is fairly dim here because it's just a very narrow channel, so think of it as being 5 feet of bright light everywhere from the channel.
Okay, then I will move over here in this corner, and I will take the dodge action.
Okay, you dodge. Okay, we move to Kurtu's turn.
am I meant to go here? So that's 5, 10, 15.
Meaning you're taking the diagonal from southeast to northwest?
Yep.
All right, as you move through that diagonal, touching into the space of the dwarf, you are exposed to an amazing amount of heat, which you would suffer 5 damage, reduced down to 2 because you're currently resistant to fire.
You guys are doing a wonderful job.
They don't even seem to look towards you as you speak.
That's what I was hoping.
Fair enough.
5, 10, 15, 20, 30. And I'm also going to take the dodge act. Actually, I'm going to dash.
Okay.
So Adam, I'm assuming I can't get up here from where I'm at.
So you'll notice that there is a flight of stairs getting there. So if you wanted to get up there, your easiest route would be something like this. Climb the stairs and then get up here. So 20 feet of movement.
All right, I'm actually just going to, I'm not going to do that, but I'll just go there instead. Now in my turn there.
Okay, and remember, you technically can't see Spectre, but you get there. And we move to Gale's turn.
Yeah.
She would hold out. Well, I guess I don't have a sword in my hand, but she hold out her hand to stop him if he tried.
Well, would I
to
be
get in
able
her
to with the
personal space.
fire? I would imagine there's some sort of light from the
So-
fire, or is that just assuming?
No, that's okay. So that channel that you're looking at there, imagine that gives off about 5 feet of bright light. So basically, right when it gets close to the edge of her square, it then goes dim, and whenever she's in dim, she's invisible to you if you rely
Okay,
on dark
cool.
vision.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Leroy, don't bother them. Just dash. We found open door. Closed door behind you. And I'm gonna go 5. $15. I'll go 25 to there. And I'll keep dodging.
Okay, dodge once again. We move to Leroy's turn.
All right. Yeah, I guess that does sound reasonable. So I will go my 30 feet, but then I will dash and make my way, jumping over the lava channel to here, and I'll make my way inside to here. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's all I got. And I'll shut this door behind me.
Okay, you interact with object to shut the door. And as you guys are out of any immediate danger, it does not sound as though these ballistas are following you. So we'll go ahead and get ourselves out of combat, guys.
That was neat. Those fire dwarves are doing a great job. Those ballistas, unfortunately, are doing a great job too, though.
Speaking of great job, good job, Spectre.
I give him a
That
brief
can
little
make it.
bow, but they can't see me, obviously, so.
Right.
Whatever you are.
Did we try this door here?
No, we have just saved ourselves from lances from the ballista.
Yeah, we haven't tried any other doors yet.
So I'm gonna try this one.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to open them.
Ah, it's another little dwarf.
As you open the door here, Leroy, and look through, you notice, yes, another one of these fiery-looking dwarves. As the door opens, you see he turns and looks towards you and just kind of like cocks his head a little bit as he gives a yawn. You notice behind him there are these, you can probably see a couple of them from your current position. They seem like fiery alcoves. They give off, again, a minor amount of light, so you can see he is currently bathed in a little bit of light. But yeah, he just kind of stares at you as you open the door.
I'm gonna step into the room and I'm gonna say, "Hello, keen dwarf."
And he looks at you, kind of narrows his eyes, and you see fire just wreathes his entire head. It's crackling up at the top of his head and at his beard, and you see he looks towards you and shakes his head back left to right.
Okay, can you speak at all? And I'm gonna do like the little chicken on my hand, and I'm gonna point at him. Can you speak any language?
You see he opens his mouth, and you can see fire in the back of his throat as he does utter out some words. Those of you may recognize this language as Ignan. Does anybody happen to speak Ignan?
I speak primordial. I don't know if that includes Ignan.
It'll give you enough familiarity with Ignan to understand it a little bit, right? Like, you think of it as a couple of years in school speaking it, right? So you're not an expert, but you can do passingly well enough.
Did I understand what he said, or bits and pieces?
He said, "Yes, I speak."
So I'm gonna respond as best I can and just say, we don't want to fight. Just looking for black box.
Black box. Have not seen black box. You see he looks to the north to the other one there, and then looks to the south, and both of them shake their heads back and forth. He looks back to you. We don't see much work.
Do you guys have like a boss?
Yes.
Can you tell me where I can find them?
And you notice his eyes kind of widen. You sense a little bit of apprehension, but eventually he just raises a finger and points behind you up the stairs, where you notice there's another door.
I'm gonna give him a thumbs up and just slide backwards out the door and shut it. Okay, so dwarf guys, they speak. It's like Ignan. I don't know if any of you guys are aware of that. But I don't know, it's kind of like a fire elemental language. He said the boss is in here. Wanna go talk to the boss guy?
Go talk to boss and ask why there is not black box here.
Hey, do you know if the boss guy is nice? Did your other friends tell you anything else? Did you ask him how, in case it's not, maybe we need to run, maybe you should ask him where the exit is, just in case.
Did you not hear my very long conversation with him, Kurtu? You don't think I covered all of those questions?
I just know you said the boss is up here. That's all you tell me. You're not very informative. You're not a very good... You're gonna get demoted.
So, they said boss is in here. They don't know much because they work all the time. They said boss has answers. Is that better for you, Kurtu?
Bill's saying that that's not what they said, but if that's what you tell Kurtu's gonna believe you.
In a nutshell, I mean, it's a broken language. Maybe I understood it brokenly, but what I gathered is they don't know much. Talk to the boss.
All I know is that I'm sweating a lot, and so we need to figure this out quickly. So the boss is a good idea.
Kurtu, you want me to open this door, or do you want to just go the other way?
You're gonna do what you're gonna do. Just open the door. You seem to like the boss. Maybe he has a job for us.
Yeah, but why are you guys way down there?
In case there's a fireball. Hello.
I can get there quickly. Besides, if it's time for a boss fight, now's the time to do it.
You guys are ridiculous.
Open door. Very
You want us to all stand on top of you?
You open the door, Leroy, and you notice a hallway stretches out before you, where you notice two additional doors, one on the north wall and one on the west. You notice the floor here is tiled in an odd way, both like this brimstone or red, and then this obsidian black. You've only seen this in one other spot, which was the other small hallways you've been in so far. You get the impression this is some type of a artistic design, perhaps.
More doors. You guys gotta come up here. Which one?
the closest one.
It's locked.
As you try to open it, Leroy, it is indeed locked.
Okay, Spectre, another chance for your excellent lock-picking ability.
Wait, we don't want to try this one? We just want to go for the locked one? I'm cool with it.
Please, open locked door.
I will try.
Okay, blind check, Spectres. You once again pull your thieves' tools out and see if you can unlock this. No, unfortunately, this lock seems to be beyond your skill to open.
It's stuck again.
Okay, Leroy, you feel free to open the other one.
Before we go in, Adam, I'm going to reach down to where the obsidian is and like scratch on the tile a little bit and get a pinch of some like dust from it. And I'm gonna say a few words and cast a spell. And I'm gonna look at everybody and say, okay. I should be able to understand them better now. You ready?
Yes, I am ready. Go for it. As you say in Faerun.
Hello. Oh, I didn't mean to shut it.
I was like, what?
Ah!
Leroy's going on a solo mission.
Leroy, as you step down here into the room proper, maybe didn't realize it right at the moment that you did this, but having cast that spell right at the doorway with the verbal component made the individual here well aware of your approach. And as you step down into this room proper, you notice this individual who's trying to essentially avoid detection to get the jump on you, you may say, and suddenly you see them as you step into this part of the room. This being is very large and has a sinister countenance. You see that it is wielding this blade very carefully, and then we are going to move into initiative round. To imply or give the benefit that this guy is prepared, I am going to give him advantage on this roll. Alright, so that was his first roll. I'm going to give him one more roll. And take the higher of those two. Okay, so that is going to set his AC or his initiative a little higher. Okay, and Gale, you're standing back here as you notice that Leroy has opened the door. As he steps down, perhaps you hear a gasp or something. It is your turn to act.
I'll move. Lock.
There you go.
So is it standing there with the sword growling at us with horns atop of his head and ready to attack?
It's not growling, but imagine it having been, and you can't really see, but yes, I would say you notice that it looks to be like it's trying to strike you. And not necessarily you, but your allies.
Well then, I'm going to go through difficult terrain to come here. And I'm going to hit him.
Sure, go ahead and make an attack. You notice he evades your strike.
Alright, let's see. I'm going to go second attack here. Actually, I'm going to roll, let me roll a hero on this.
Okay.
Oof.
This will be a miss, automatic miss, regardless of the roll, because of that one.
Great, there's my 2 attacks, guys. I don't have anything else. I will... here's what I'm gonna do. Bonus action, face step, and in winter, he needs to do a wisdom save, and to bonus action to here. So I misty step to there, and it's going to be a wisdom save for fear.
Do you have that in postable format?
Have this? Yes, here, something, but...
Okay, so go ahead and give me... What did you pick? Intelligence, wisdom, or charisma for this?
Wisdom is not going to matter. They're all bad.
Alright, so go ahead and throw me a wisdom roll.
Just a check, right?
Yes.
Oof.
Okay, so we'll take that wisdom roll. That already includes your wisdom, so then we'll add your proficiency on top of that. Okay, it does look as though he is afraid of your wintry form.
So you see, like, my eyes get really dark, and I just my motion alone, my presence, he's just seems feared of me. My bonus action, my movement, and my turn.
I'm just burning one of your face steps there. All right, we move to Spectre's turn.
All right. So did I hear him like draw his sword and like make his attacks from around the corner?
Gale?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume so. You heard him move in, yeah.
Okay. I think I still have thieves' tools in my hand.
Sounds about right.
With dual wielder, do you think I can put them away and draw a weapon on the same turn? It's not
No.
technically a weapon. Okay.
Yeah, I would say no, because Thieves' Tools, I imagine, is like a kit, you know, that not just a couple things.
Okay. Then I will go ahead and drop the thieves' tools on the ground
Okay.
and draw my longbow. Does that work?
Yes, yes. You drop as
Okay.
free, interact with object to pull the longbow, sure.
So I will start moving forward. 5, 10. Does this pool thing... Is this emitting light? Am I in...
Right now you're not, but as soon as you get within 5 feet of it, yes.
Okay. Where did Gale go?
On the other side of the big monster.
Okay. And there's nothing to my north, correct?
There's a solid wall.
Okay. Well, the bow was a bad choice. I did not expect him to be right there. But I gotta try to use it. Can I see... I know it would be a tricky shot through Leroy, but can I, like, try to angle it to hit, like, this bottom left corner?
You can try, yep. I would certainly give him cover.
Okay. So I will attempt to make my bow shots, because I gotta do something with my first turn. So... 1...
Yes, the first one will connect. Which seems to wound him.
2...
Second one connects as well.
So another 10. And then Dread Ambusher shot. I think. It doesn't have to be a melee weapon, right?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. 3.
That'll be a critical hit. Go ahead and roll that piercing crit.
You know, this doesn't happen very often. I keep losing it. Piercing.
If you're Dread Ambusher, don't you get additional damage for your first attack landing as well?
For my third attack. So this would... I guess this would this apply to this crit? Because the Dread Ambusher is the third one?
Let me see exactly how it's worded.
Yeah, let me post it for you.
Scored a minor injury. That's good.
Dread Ambusher is like one of my favorite ranger subclasses.
Yep.
Where the fuck did it go? Oh, there it is. If that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d8 damage of the weapon's damage type.
Yeah, I would count that as the crit.
Okay, so do I roll that twice as well?
Yes.
So roll 2d8. For another 9 onto this boy.
And I think you also did an injury, right?
Yes. Injury. Minor injury.
All
Movement
right.
Speed down.
Okay,
And
so you
then-
fired 3 times, struck him all 3 times. Anything else on your turn?
I will take another... Oops. I will take another step back. Oop, I clicked the door. Stepping here.
All right, as you step there, you do notice that he will take an opportunity attack against you, and I will need
He
a
may
defensive
do it.
roll. Okay, he is going to miss you. As you notice, he's a little bit apprehensive of where Gale is currently standing.
Alright, and then I will continue my movement back here and step on the tile and stay on the tile where my thieves' tools are at so I don't forget them. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget it at the start of the next session.
Yep, yeah, not a bad idea.
My turn.
Okay, so guys, Leroy and Gale, you're going to notice that he motions with his free hand here, casting a spell and turning into a cloud of gas. As he does so, you're going to see him move as a gas cloud down into this fiery, like liquid material, and seems to dissipate underneath. Leroy, technically, I would say you can probably take an opportunity attack from where you're at. Gale, you would not be able to, if you wish, Leroy.
Yeah, I'll take a swing.
All right, blade would cut into the gaseous cloud. Go ahead and post damage. All right, and from there, he seems to be no longer...
Can I smite?
Sure, yeah, you could.
Because I don't know if that's concentration, and if I can tack on some extra damage.
It's not concentration. Not on a
still
normal...
gonna do-
Not on that type of a smite. The spell smite, yeah.
He means if the monster is concentrating on.
Oh, sorry.
something. Yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah, if the monster was concentrating, then maybe I could
Yeah.
do a little extra.
All right.
So
and
level
then-
1.
Yes, and then go ahead and throw me just a basic D20, Leroy. All right, so as you strike out at him, yes, you will notice that he loses concentration and he will appear back here. So that's his action, and then technically he's I'll keep him here. He's kind of wedged on the side here as he sort of reforms, standing a bit awkwardly. As we then move to Leroy's turn.
Nice job, Leroy.
Very good.
All right, I'm going to
shit right there.
I'm gonna move here, and I'm gonna hold my blade up, and I'm gonna say, look, we don't want to fight you. You swung on us first. We're looking for a black box. Do you know where it's at?
And what language are you speaking this in?
I'm gonna speak it in Ignan, because that's what the little workers spoke in, so I imagine he has to speak it if he commands his workers.
So primordial for you.
Yeah, well, no, I'm in comprehend languages, so doesn't that mean I can't speak other languages, just understand them, huh?
I think that's how it's worded, right?
You would need like tongues to be able to speak. I think.
Right, so you understand it, but you don't get the ability to speak it.
Okay, then I'll speak it in my broken Ignan then.
Okay.
Primordial.
And you'll notice he obviously recognizes or understands what it is that you're saying as he's wedged here in a bit of an awkward situation. And the exact words you said are, "You're not here, you struck at us first, and you're just looking for a black box," is what you said.
Yeah, we're not dangerous. We just defended ourselves.
And you'll hear him respond quickly in this kind of weird, strange voice. "You're intruders. I didn't know where you're from. If you truly mean no harm, then back away."
Okay, I'll take a couple steps back and I'll say, "Kale, give him some space." And I'll still have a little bit of I'll be on my toes. Let's just say for my action at him, I'll take a dodge.
Okay. And we move to Kurtu's turn.
Where's the baddie?
Sounds like they're negotiating.
Trying to reason with him.
Am I in darkness, by the way?
Here you would be, yes.
Okay. So I would move out of the kobold's way in my space. This is going to be so annoying, you guys.
I know. This is one of the ones that's hard to do, I'll be honest.
Negotiating? Okay, that's what you say.
I'll go back here. I don't like the negotiation thing, but I'm going to go ahead and take the dodge action.
All right. Is that the end of your turn, Kurtu? Okay, as we move to the top of the next round, we're at the end of our session time here, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this session. It was very interesting. We're ending off in kind of an interesting spot. We'll see how things pick up on the next side. So yeah, good session, everybody. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Definitely give me some feedback on the new doors function. If you know,
I like it.
Yeah, I think it works pretty well. We're seeing some misclicks, but I think that's going to happen
Yeah.
until we get used to it. But yeah.
Because the hitbox kind of spills over into the space. So every time I've been trying to click my token, sometimes I.
Yeah, it's kind of right there.
Yeah.
I would say, as just a reminder, once you get your tokens selected, I find it's easier to move them with the keys on your keyboard. So you don't, that'd be just one click, get them selected, then move with keys. And if you're a constant clicker or dragger, the doors might get more in your way. But yeah, we'll keep playing it by ear and see how it goes. So yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys like of the rest of this level. So we'll see how things go. Everybody have a great night. Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll see everybody next week.
Good night,
Adam,
everybody.
Hey, just real
Good
quick,
session, everybody.
what I noticed on it too is that because I used the Alt key when I was trying to go through the door, and I think the problem was I had my Alt key down.
Oh yeah, because that
Yeah.
allows you to not snap to a spot, and then it might be harder to go through the doors that way. So that's good feedback, Bill.
Yeah, just letting you know in case anyone else is making that same mistake if you're using it on your other sessions. So.
Yep, yeah, good addition.
All right,
All right,
have a great
guys.
week, folks.
Good night, everyone.
See ya.